Chapter 451. Empress Dowager, Yin. She wanted to refuse, but before she could finish, she was cut off by Chen Ning with a smile. Could it be Miss Xia can't do it? If Miss Xia can't do it, then it's my win. Xia Yin couldn't help being filled with anger. She turned to look at Chen Ning, not understanding where her confidence came from. Her chest filled with arrogance. She was the #1 talented woman. Could she not compare to an idiot? All right, let's compete. Empress Dowager, please choose the topic. Empress Dowager, Zhou never thought that Chen Ning would propose another topic. It was already hard to compose a poem in 7 steps, but if she added another topic, she believed that no one in West Chu could do it. Her deep eyes fell onto Chen Ning's face, wanting to see what this little girl was thinking. Chen Ning had a calm expression, not showing any fear at all. Empress Dowager, Zhou, slowly looked away. She understood what this little girl was thinking. She clearly knew that she couldn't do it, so she purposely increased the difficulty, making it so Xia Yuyin couldn't do it either. If the two of them couldn't do it, it would be a draw, and she wouldn't embarrass herself in front of everyone. It had to be said that this was a smart method, but since she could see through this little girl's intentions, how could she let her succeed? Miss Xia, do you really want to compete? If you don't want to compete, this widow can change the competition method. Empress Dowager, Zhou gently said. She was clearly biased towards Xia Yuyin. It was a pity that Xia Yuyin was filled with anger and could not hear it. She thought that Empress Dowager Zhou was looking down on her. Empress Dowager, Yuyin is willing to compete with the princess consort. Yuyin believes that if the princess consort can do it, then Yuyin will definitely be able to do it. Empress Dowager Zhou nodded and no longer said anything. Su Jin stood behind Empress Dowager Zhou and lowered her head when she heard this. She was thinking that this Miss Xia really had a smart face but a dumb heart, not even being able to hear Empress Dowager Zhou's good intentions. AI, how could this kind of girl be worthy of the emperor? The lake pavilion was surrounded by strange flowers. When the wind blew across the lake, it brought with it a fresh flower fragrance. Empress Dowager Zhou looked at the butterflies flying around the flowers and casually pointed with her finger as she said, "We'll use this butterfly as the topic." Since ancient times, there were many poems about butterflies, but it was extremely difficult to recite them in a lively and unconventional manner. Therefore, this question was neither difficult nor easy. Ning, Miss Xia, which one of you will start first? Xia Yuyin thought that whoever started first would be at a disadvantage, so she quickly said, "How could Yuyin dare to be in front of the princess consort? Naturally, the princess consort will go first." Chen Ning looked at her and nodded with a faint smile. "Then I'll start first. Aunt Su Jin, I'll have to trouble you to help me count." Su Jin looked at Empress Dowager Zhou, and Empress Dowager Zhou nodded. She stood up. Her waist was slender and her figure was graceful. Her aquamarine dress was fluttering in the wind. She calmly took a step forward, and Su Jin counted 1. She took another step forward. Her long skirt swayed slightly, and with each step she took, a lotus blossomed. When Su Jin counted to the 3rd step, her eyes lit up, and she said with a smile, "Got it." Everyone was shocked, and they couldn't help but look at each other in disbelief. Chen Ning continued to walk forward while using a clear and sweet voice to read it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chapter 452. Lu Wanting was the first to not be able to hold it in as she let out a ha laugh. Ha. Is the princess consort writing a poem about butterflies, or is she counting them one by one? Xia Yuyin revealed a faint smile, but her heart let out a sigh of relief. She really thought that the princess was a hidden character, but she never thought that she was just bluffing. She was actually a complete idiot. She covered her lips and also began to laugh. Su Jin counted the steps and heard the mocking laughter coming from all around her. She couldn't help lowering her head, feeling embarrassed for Chen Ning. Empress Dowager Zhou revealed a proud look as she looked over at Mo Chuan. Although she did not say anything, the ridicule and disdain in her eyes was already revealed. When Mo Chuan heard Chen Ning's first 2 lines, the corner of his eyes couldn't help twitching. He did not notice Empress Dowager Zhou's eyes looking at him at all. His eyes were firmly locked onto Chen Ning's face, and his two handsome brows tightly knit together. This girl, he shouldn't have agreed to let her compose a poem back then. She couldn't even write words, so how could she compose a poem? What should he do? He had to think of a way to make this competition not count. Emperor, calm down. Don't disturb Ning Er's thoughts. Empress Dowager Zhou had already guessed Emo Chuan's thoughts. She thought that as long as she was here, this son of hers wouldn't be able to play any tricks in front of her. Chen Ning ignored the ridicule coming from all around her, but the smile on her face did not decrease at all. She continued to take a step forward and read the third line. 9, 10 flying gracefully. Su Jin had already counted to 6 at this time. This line had a bit of a poetic meaning to it. Unfortunately, it was too late. Empress Dowager Zhou picked up the teacup and brought it to her lips, unable to hide the pride in her eyes, disappearing into the yellow flowers. At this time, Chen Ning finished her last line, and Su Jin had just counted to 7. It really was a poem in 7 steps. Empress Dowager Zhou coughed out a mouthful of tea, and she couldn't help violently coughing. Su Jin quickly patted Empress Dowager Zhou's back. Emo Chuan's eyes suddenly lit up. He looked at Chen Ning with eyes filled with shock and admiration, as well as an indescribable emotion. That fiery and bright eyes made Chen Ning's face turn a bit red. Good poem, good poem. Emo Chuan was the first to clap his hands in praise. This was the first time he had heard such a poem. The first 3 lines could be said to be extremely ordinary, but the divine turn in the last line was like a dragon's finishing touch, immediately making the 3 ordinary lines come alive. When these 4 sentences were put together, they vividly depicted a scene of a yellow butterfly flying through flowers. It was both easy to understand and catchy. Mother, what do you think of the Ding Yuan Princess poem? He asked Empress Dowager Zhou despite knowing the answer. Empress Dowager Zhou finally stopped coughing and her old face turned red. She angrily glared at Emo Chuan, but her heart was filled with shock. She closed her eyes and silently thought back to Chen Ning's poem in her heart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 flying gracefully, disappearing into the yellow flowers. There wasn't a single word butterfly in the entire poem, but it made people applaud it. Especially the last sentence. The scene of a yellow butterfly flying into a cluster of flowers was described vividly. She slowly opened her eyes and gave a slight nod to Chen Ning. Good job, very good. Chapter 453. The faces of Xia Yuyan and the other girls all changed. Their eyes were filled with disbelief as they looked at Chen Ning, especially Xia Yuyan. It was like she had been hit in the head, and she instantly became listless. This kind of poem, not to mention she couldn't write it in 7 steps. Even if she was given 7 days, she still wouldn't be able to write it. Miss Xia, it's your turn now. Chen Ning turned around and looked at Xia Yuyan with a smile. I. Xia Yuyan bit her lips until they turned white. Finally, her face turned red as she lowered her head. I can't do it. I admit defeat. The last 3 words were as soft as a mosquito, almost inaudible. Lu Wanting saw her make a fool of herself, and her heart filled with joy. She deliberately repeated it in a loud voice. Big Sister Xia, what did you just say? Did you admit defeat to the princess consort? Xia Yuyan angrily looked up and glared at her. Lu Wanting smiled at Wu Yu'er and said, Big Sister Wu, it seems like Big Sister Xia's title of the capital's most talented girl will change hands. Don't you think so? Wu Yu'er smiled without saying a word. When Xia Yuyan heard this, she felt her face turn red. Thinking of how she mocked Chen Ning before, she was filled with shame. She wished she could find a hole to hide in. Empress Dowager Zhou gave a soft cough and slowly said, The path of poetry can be done by accident or by deep thought. In terms of quick-wittedness, the Ding Yuan princess is indeed a bit better, but Miss Xia's fame is not undeserved. How about this? This widow will give another topic. There is no time limit, so the 2 of you can carefully think about it. Whoever has a better poem will be the winner of this competition. Hearing this, the expressions of everyone present changed. Xia Yuyan was filled with joy, Mo Chuan was filled with anger. Chen Ning did not make a sound, and Su Jin muttered in her heart, "How biased! Empress Mother, isn't this a little unfair?" Mo Chuan coldly said, "You clearly said that the poem in 7 steps would be the winner. Not only did the Dingyuan princess write a poem in 7 steps, she also wrote a peerless poem. Does this not count as a win? Emperor, the poem in 7 steps is a test of quick wit. The Dingyuan princess is quick-witted and Miss Xia is not as good, but the path of poetry is deep and profound. If the Dingyuan princess is really talented, why would she be afraid of another round? Does the emperor not believe in the Dingyuan princess skills?" Empress Dowager Zhou gave a faint smile. "Very well, your subject will wait and see. Even if we compete again, someone will only be humiliated once more." Mo Chuan's unkind words made Xia Yuyan feel even more embarrassed. Her face was red, and she was secretly grateful to Empress Dowager Zhou. She knew that the Empress Dowager was giving her another chance to take revenge. She gritted her teeth and thought to herself that as long as there was no time limit, she would definitely be able to chant a beautiful line that would shock everyone and ruthlessly slap the faces of those who dared to mock her. "Ninger, do you have you? If you agree, I'll give you another question." You Mo Yin Chun said with a smile. Chen Ning revealed a faint smile. "Ninger has no objections. I asked the Empress Dowager to make a question." "All right, then this widow will make another question. Right now it is spring. It is a good time to look into the distance. How about this? We'll use the words mountain climbing as the title and write a mountain climbing poem. If either of you think it through, then write it down on a piece of paper and give it to this widow to look over." Empress Dowager Zhou slowly said this. Then she picked up the teacup again and slowly sipped it. Mo Chuan stared at Empress Dowager Zhou. Very good. This mother of his was really unscrupulous. She clearly knew that Ning Er's writing was bad, but she still wanted them to write a poem. Wasn't this making Ning Er look like a fool in front of everyone? Chapter 454. At this time, the maids had already prepared 2 pieces of snow-white paper and had prepared a pool of ink. Xia Yuyan held the pen and had already thought of 4 lines in her mind, but she did not write them down. Rather, she continued to think about the words. Since the Empress Dowager had said there was no time limit, she could carefully think about it. Chen Ning stood in front of the table. She picked up the pen and dipped it into the ink. She heard the sounds of laughter coming from all around her, with Lu Wanting's laughter being the loudest. "Princess Consort, your pen is upside down. Why are you using the tip of the pen to dip in the ink? Could it be that the Princess Consort has never learned how to write before?" Chen Ning calmly looked up and asked back, "This princess likes to use the tip of the pen to write, can't I?" Lu Wanting was stunned, but then she covered her lips and said with a smile, "The Princess Consort can use whatever she likes." "Very good." Chen Ning threw the pen away and dipped her finger in the ink. She began to write word by word on the paper. After a while, she had finished writing. At this time, Xia Yuyan had also finished writing 4 lines. Her words were very beautiful, just like her. She took the initiative to show the poem she had written to Empress Dowager Zhou. "This is Yuyan's mountain climbing poem. I asked the Empress Dowager for guidance." Empress Dowager Zhou liked the beautiful flower hairpin small script when she saw it. Looking at the poem she had written, it was very neat. Although there weren't any outstanding lines, it was very fresh and graceful. She nodded and praised. Good poem, truly worthy of being the #1 talented woman." "Emperor, what do you think of this poem?" "The Empress Dowager is too kind." Xia Yuyan's face turned red, but she secretly looked at Mo Chuan from the corner of her eyes. Mo Chuan just looked over her poem and gave a soft woo sound, not saying anything. Xia Yuyan was instantly filled with disappointment. She bit her lower lip and glared at Chen Ning. Empress Dowager Zhou gave the poem in her hand to Su Jin with a faint smile. "Miss Xia is very talented, being able to write such a good poem. Take this and give it to everyone to judge. Otherwise, someone will say that this widow is biased." "Emperor, don't you think so?" Mo Chuan gave an unhappy snort, but his deep eyes looked over at Chen Ning. Xia Yuyan's poem was passed around by the palace servants, receiving a wave of praise. Wu Yuer and Lu Wanting also gave a few words of praise, but they were not convinced in their hearts, especially when they saw Xia Yuyan's proud appearance. They were even more unconvinced. Isn't it just a poem? We also know how to play the zither and paint. Do you know how to write? The two girls silently cursed, but they did not dare say it out loud. They could only hope that the Ding Yuan princess could come up with a better poem to suppress Xia Yuyan's prestige. Empress Dowager, this is Ning's poem. Chen Ning calmly washed her hands before picking up the poem she had written, giving it to Empress Dowager Zhou to look over. Although she didn't know how to write with a brush, she had practiced modern calligraphy with a hard brush. When she dipped her index finger in the ink, the strokes were full and powerful. If Empress Dowager Zhou and Mo Chuan hadn't personally seen her write it, they would have suspected that someone had written it for them. Especially Mo Chuan. He had no way of connecting the words in front of him to the earthworm like Chuan character. It was not written by the same person at all. Empress Dowager Zhou was shocked by Chen Ning's words. She composed herself and looked at the poem she wrote. After reading it word by word, she was silent for a while before finally slowly nodding. Chapter 455. The surrounding people all sucked in a cold breath. Almost everyone's eyes popped out as they looked at Chen Ning in disbelief. What? Why did she win? I don't accept this. Xia Yuyan couldn't help screaming out. She was filled with anger and hate, but she did not dare be angry at Empress Dowager Zhou. She could only hatefully stare at Chen Ning. Su Jin, read the Ding Yuan princess poem to everyone and let everyone judge it. Empress Dowager Zhou said in a soft voice, ignoring Xia Yuyan's loss of manners. She was very disappointed in Xia Yuyan. She had wasted the title of #1 talented woman, but it turned out she was only this strong. Su Jin cleared her throat. Everyone perked up their ears and held their breaths. One up, one up, one up, one up to the top of the mountain. She clearly read out the first two lines. Cheat. A cold laugh rang out. Xia Yuyan curled her lips and said in a disdainful voice, "You call this a poem? It's simply dog fart." As soon as her voice fell, she suddenly felt a cold gaze sweep over her, making her body tremble. Mo Chuan turned to look at Empress Dowager Zhou with a serious expression. Mother, did someone just fart? Your son seems to have heard the sound of fart. Empress Dowager Zhou's lips couldn't help twitching. She stared at Mo Chuan with a look of warning. Mo Chuan ignored her. Shao Si, go see where the dog came from to dare fart here. If it dares to fart again, then kick it out for this one. Shao Si suppressed his laughter and gave a sound of agreement. Xia Yuyan's face instantly turned red to her ears. She lowered her head, feeling angry and embarrassed. Wu Yuer and Lu Wanting saw that the emperor was actually mocking Xia Yuyan. It was clear that he did not care about her at all, so they were filled with joy. Without a strong opponent like Xia Yuyan, they had a bit more confidence in winning the emperor's will today. Su Jin, continue reading. Empress Dowager Zhou sighed in her heart again. She was too lazy to even look at Xia Yuyan. She really was a fool that couldn't be helped. She had truly wasted her attention on her. Yes, Empress Dowager. Su Jin's voice was clear as she continued to read the last two lines. Raise your head to the red sun and white clouds, looking at the 10,000 miles of mountains and rivers. The scene was silent for a moment, and then there was a burst of loud cheers. Most of the people listening to this poem could not understand what it meant. They just felt that Chen Ning's poem was easy to understand, especially the last two lines. It was filled with a majestic aura and was even more pleasing to the ears than Xia Yuyan's poem. Xia Yuyan once again received a critical hit of 10,000 points. She no longer had the arrogance she had before. She hung her head like a defeated rooster. Lu Wanting clapped her hands and praised. The princess poem is very good. These last two lines are very grand and powerful. It is even better than elder sister Xia's poem. Elder sister Wu, don't you think so? Wu Yuer pursed her lips and said, this is natural. Xia Yuyan suddenly raised her head and glared at the two of them. She did not hate Chen Ning because she was not as talented as her, but she hated Lu Wanting and Wu Yu'er for hitting her when she was down. Princess Consort, your mountain climbing poem is very grand. Yu Yin cannot compare to you. You are 100 times more talented than me. So Yu Yin wants to ask the Princess Consort how to write a good poem in the future. I hope the Princess Consort can give me some pointers. Xiao Yin walked in front of Chen Ning and sincerely bowed down. Chapter 456. Miss Xia is too polite. I don't know how to make any poems. I just made up a few sentences. In terms of talent, Miss Xia is much better than me. Chen Ning smiled as she helped Xia Yu Yin up. She was speaking the truth, but when everyone heard it, they felt that she was being modest. She really had a broad mind. This kind of bearing could not be compared to Xia Yu Yin at all. Empress Dowager Zhou's eyes silently fell on her face for a while. She felt like she had misjudged. This Dingyuan princess did not seem like an idiot. Just looking at the two poems she made, one was ingenious and the other was majestic. Even a scholar would not be able to make something like this. She couldn't help but feel a little dispirited about the next two matches, because as long as she saw the emperor's eyes on the Dingyuan princess, she would know that all of her efforts had been wasted. She wanted to use Xia Yuyan's talent to suppress Chen Ning, making Chen Ning expose herself. When the emperor found out that she was useless, he would naturally give up on her. But she never thought that things would be the opposite. Not only did her careful planning not make Chen Ning depressed, it made her even more radiant. Empress Dowager Zhou was clear in her heart that these two poems would quickly spread and become a masterpiece. At that time, the rumor that the Dingyuan princess was an idiot would be destroyed. Perhaps the title of the capital's most talented woman would fall on her head. Woo! It was like she had smashed her own foot with a rock. Empress Dowager Zhou stared at Chen Ning. She felt like she should be very angry, but her heart unknowingly filled with praise and appreciation. With this kind of breadth and bearing, as well as being this young, even she in the past could not compare to her. Her staring eyes made Chen Ning feel a bit embarrassed. She muttered in her heart, why was this old lady staring at her? She couldn't have heard these two poems, right? Mother, mother. Mo Chuan called out to Empress Dowager Zhou twice before she came back to her senses. An emperor, what do you want to say? Your son wants to ask mother, do we still continue with the competition? Mo Chuan said with a faint smile. It had to be said that Chen Ning's two poems not only shocked Empress Dowager Zhou, it also gave him a large pleasant surprise. He did not care if Chen Ning knew how to compose poems or write lyrics, but seeing her shine in front of everyone, he felt proud. Empress Dowager Zhou wanted to say there was no need to compete, but seeing Mo Chuan's proud eyes, she changed her mind. Of course we have to compete. I have long heard that your painting skills are outstanding. Are you willing to paint one today so that I and the emperor can feast our eyes? Empress Dowager Zhou looked at Wu Yu'er with a smile. Wu Yu had been itching to give it a try and had been waiting for this opportunity. She gracefully stood up and bowed down. Yu'er is willing. May Empress Dowager set the question. Empress Dowager Zhou said with a smile, we'll use the surrounding scenery as the theme. You can draw whatever you want, whether it's people or scenery. It's up to you. She turned to Chen Ning with a smile. Ning, when this widow was chatting with the emperor just now, he praised your paintings. He said that your paintings are very vivid, with birds flying and fish swimming. So this widow really wants to see it. How about you draw one as well, and let this widow and the emperor evaluate it together? Chen Ning smiled and turned to Chen Ning. Chapter 457. When did he say this? Mo Chuan never would have dreamed that Empress Dowager Zhou would trick him in front of everyone. Even if he wanted to explain, he couldn't. He couldn't say that he didn't say it in front of everyone, right? He could only swallow his anger. Chen Ning angrily glared at Mo Chuan and bit her lips. Was he trying to trick her to death? When had he ever seen her painting? Ning, are you willing? Empress Dowager Zhou asked with a smile. The current her in Chen Ning's eyes was like a smiling old fox. Of course I'm willing. Chen Ning steeled her heart. Wasn't it just painting? She didn't know how to paint people, But could she not know how to paint earthworms? All right. Then this widow and the emperor will be waiting to enjoy your masterpiece. Empress Dowager Zhou leaned back in her chair in satisfaction. She looked over at Mo Chuan and saw the veins popping out on his forehead as expected. She liked seeing this disobedient brat's veins pop out from anger. Wu Yuer was covered in paints. There were yellow, stone, titanium white, indigo, and etc. There were also all kinds of large and small brushes. She had studied painting for 10 years and had learned from a master, so her paintings had the style of a master. She wanted to show off at this time, so she was painting a spring garden. There were distant mountains, trees, flowers fluttering in the wind, butterflies, swallows, and people enjoying the flowers. Just looking at the structure, it could be seen that this was a very large painting. Only to finish this painting, it was not something that could be done in a short period of time. Princess Consort, what paints do you need? This servant will help you prepare them. Su Jin saw that Chun Ning did not have any paints in front of her. She couldn't help feeling worried for her, so she asked in a concerned voice, "Oh, I don't need paints. Aunt Su Jin, just help me grind some ink." Chun Ning replied with a smile. Ink? Su Jin was filled with questions, but she did not dare ask, so she ground the ink. Chun Ning casually picked up a brush and dipped it in the ink. Raising the brush, she began to paint on the paper. "I'm done." She put down the brush and took a step back. Looking over her painting, she was very satisfied. "She's done?" Empress Dowager Zhou and Mo Chuan were shocked. They couldn't help standing up and looking over at the table. Their faces turned dark at the same time. This. What was she painting? On the snow-white paper, there were 3 curved earthworm-like things drawn horizontally. Other than that, there was nothing else. Mo Chuan couldn't help secretly gritting his teeth. Was she writing his Chuan character horizontally? Earthworms. How could she think of this? Everyone that saw Chun Ning's drawing couldn't help having their faces twitch. They wanted to laugh, but they didn't dare. They could only lower their heads and endure it as their shoulders secretly shook. Wu Yuer's face was filled with disdain. I thought the Dingyuan princess was very strong. Don't look at how good her poems are. But comparing paintings? She only knew how to draw earthworms to coax children. The Empress Dowager and the Emperor were definitely not children. Empress Dowager Zhou took a deep breath and held Mo Chuan's hand as she slowly sat back down. Dingyuan princess, this widow's topic is to paint the scenery in the garden. I don't know what you're painting, but this widow's eyes aren't good and I can't see it. How about you show it to this widow? Chapter 458. Lake. Empress Dowager Zhou was stunned. If it wasn't for her strong willpower, she would have broken down. Behind her, the maids and eunuchs all shrank back, trying to suppress their laughter, but they did not dare laugh out loud. Lu Wanting gave a GG laugh that was even clearer than a bell. She ran to Chun Ning's side and looked at her painting. Then she looked at the lake and asked with wide eyes, "Princess Consort, your one, it doesn't look like a lake at all. It looks more like 3 caterpillars." Her expression was innocent, but whether it was true innocence or fake innocence, it could not be hidden from Chun Ning's eyes. Chun Ning's eyes swept over her face, and her lips curled into a taunting smile. "Is that so? Then that means you don't know how to appreciate this princess painting." Lu Wanting was stunned for a bit before realizing that she had been mocked. Her face instantly turned red. Xia Yuyin saw that she had been humiliated and her heart was filled with joy. She opened her mouth to praise. Princess Consort is right. This kind of interesting painting, those vulgar people would not be able to understand it. Lu Wanting was filled with anger and hate. She did not dare lose her temper at Chun Ning, but she was not polite to Xia Yuyin. She immediately retorted, "Can you understand it? You're saying that if this isn't a caterpillar, then what is it?" Of course Xia Yuyin could not understand it. She raised her chin and revealed a profound smile. "Of course I can understand it. The mysteries of this painting requires careful observation to understand. Isn't that right, Princess Consort?" Chun Ning secretly found this funny. She nodded and said, "That's right, Miss Xia truly has good eyes. Normal people would not be able to understand it." After she said this, Everyone's eyes turned to look at the painting in her hand. Looking up and down, looking left and right, they wanted to see just what was so mysterious about this painting. Wu Yuer was not in a mood to paint anymore. Her eyes kept looking at Chun Ning's painting. She was proud and arrogant. She thought that even if others could not understand it, she would be able to understand it. She looked at it and felt that it wasn't an earthworm or a caterpillar. She could not understand anything else. But even Xia Yuyan could understand it. So why couldn't she? The more she thought about it, the more unconvinced she was. Her eyes were glued to Chun Ning's painting, almost as if she wanted to see a hole through it. Empress Dowager Zhou was also filled with doubts. She asked Mo Chuan in a small voice, "Emperor, do you see the mysteries of this painting?" Mo Chuan thought in his heart, "What mysteries there? It is 3 earthworms." Mo Chuan said, "Chen Chen Ning Yu." His face, however, had an unfathomable expression. Of course this son can see it. Could it be that Imperial Mother can't see it? Chun Ning looked at Zhu and Mo Ning and Dowager Zhou and said, after she said this, Dowager Zhou is Themote. And this look, she, and, I said, I, after Dowager Ning, Chun, and she. After she say, I, after. Now everyone was looking at Chun Ning, waiting for her to reveal the mysteries of the painting. The corners of his mouth curled up, and a faint smile appeared in his eyes. He wanted to see what this weird girl was going to say. Chapter 459. Empress Dowager, please take a look. Ning, painting is called the Lake Interest Painting. Lake Interest Painting? Interesting. Empress Dowager Zhou was confused hearing this, but she revealed an interested expression. She nodded and asked, "Where is this lake, and where is this interest?" Empress Dowager, this lake water is transparent. It falls on the paper, so it is also transparent. This entire painting is a world in the water. There are water plants floating here, and there's a group of small shrimps swimming around. She pointed at the lower right corner of the painting and said with a serious expression. Everyone's eyes went wide as they looked at where she was pointing. They found that the paper was completely clean, without any water plants or prawns. They thought they were seeing things. They rubbed their eyes and looked again, but there was still nothing there. Empress Dowager Zhou couldn't help looking at Mo Chuan. She saw that his eyes were filled with a smile as he looked at the Chun family's girl without blinking. He wasn't looking at the painting in her hand, but rather at her face. Even if the other side said there was an elephant on the paper, he would still nod his head without any hesitation. Ning, where is the water plant in your painting? Why can't this widow see it? Also, where are the prawns you mentioned? Empress Dowager Zhou couldn't hold it in anymore and finally asked. Reporting to the Empress Dowager, the water plant was eaten by the prawns, so naturally you can't see it. After the prawns ate the water plant, they never thought that a group of fish would suddenly swim over. They treated the prawns as food, so the prawns were gone. After the fish ate their fill, they swayed their tails and swam away, so there's only a clean lake left on the painting. Chen Ning's words were like pearls, and her voice was clear. Her words were very pleasant to listen to, as if she was telling the truth. The smile on Mo Chuan's lips unknowingly became wider. This girl was really bold, actually daring to play with the Empress Dowager and the Emperor. Wasn't she afraid of losing her head? He looked over and saw Empress Dowager Zhou's face sink. So before Empress Dowager Zhou could become angry, he said, "The Ding Yuan princess painting is good, and her explanation is even better. Looking at it like this painting is truly mysterious." His words stopped Empress Dowager Zhou's mouth. Empress Dowager Zhou gave an angry snort. Mother has just said that your son has praised the Ding Yuan princess painting, saying that birds can fly and fish can swim. Isn't this what I saw with my own eyes? The prawns and fish have all come alive on the paper. This is the first time this one has seen such a wonderful painting. Oh, so it's like this. When everyone heard this, a look of realization appeared on their faces. Interesting, this is really interesting. Wu Yuer nodded. Wu Yuer was so angry that she almost vomited blood. What kind of bullsh asterisk T was this painting? It actually won a wave of applause and praise. Even the emperor was full of praise for her paintings. So why should she do that? She stared at the paper and suddenly said in a loud voice, "Princess consort, you said that the fish swam away after eating the prawns. Then what are these 3 crooked lines?" "Oh, this," Chun Ning slowly said. "When the fish is full, it excretes and turns into fertilizer. It fattens these 3 worms and they grow bigger climbing out of the lake." "Miss Wu, you're asking me what these are, but these are clearly earthworms. You cannot recognize earthworms, right?" She pretended to be surprised as she looked at Wu Yuer with wide eyes. Chapter 460. Xia Yuyan and Lu Wanting covered their mouths as they giggled. That laughter in Wu Yuer's ears was like needles piercing her ears. "Ding Yuan Princess, this one really likes your lake painting. Are you willing to give it to this one?" When Wu Yuer was filled with anger and hate, she suddenly heard Mo Chuan's clear and melodious voice ring out. "What?" The emperor was actually asking the Ding Yuan Princess for a painting that she couldn't even see? Wu Yuer almost did not dare believe her ears. She stared with wide eyes at the painting in Chun Ning's hand, wanting to see if this painting was really that good. Chun Ning was also a bit stunned, but then she revealed an uncaring smile. "This is my playful work. If the emperor likes it, then you can take it. This one really likes it." His words made Empress Dowager Zhou's face turn even darker, and it made Chun Ning's face turn red. Xiao Si took the painting from her hands and carefully rolled it up. He held it in his chest like he was holding a rare treasure. Wu Yuer felt more and more indignant as she looked at it. Tears began to fall from her eyes. "Empress Dowager, Yuer doesn't accept this. I ask you to be the judge. Is Yuer's painting better, or is the princess painting better?" Wu Yuer's eyes were filled with tears, and she had a pitiful expression as she kneeled down in front of Empress Dowager Zhou. She saw the emperor wholeheartedly favoring Chun Ning, and her heart had already turned cold. Her only hope was to obtain the Empress Dowager's recognition and support. How could Empress Dowager Zhou not understand her meaning? "Yuer, stand up. In terms of painting skills, you are indeed better than the Ding Yuan Princess, but in terms of artistic conception, the princess is slightly better. So, your painting skills can be said to be equal. This widow likes both of you. Su Jin, bring out the 3 jade ornaments from this widow's jewelry box and give them to these 3 girls for this widow." "Yes, Empress Dowager," Su Jin replied and quickly brought back 3 beautiful ornaments. "Yuer, come. This widow will personally help you put them on. You were born with a pair of hands that can draw such a good painting. You will definitely marry an ideal husband in the future. Only, I don't know which family son will be lucky enough to marry such a beautiful girl like you." Empress Dowager Zhou helped Wu Yuer put on the ornaments while speaking in a kind manner. Wu Yuer's face instantly became whiter than paper. Her body slightly trembled as she looked at Yuer. The Empress Dowager's meaning was clearly that she didn't like her. Her wish to enter the palace as a concubine became a pile of bubbles. "Yuer, thanks the Empress." Yuer's smile that was even uglier than a cry, but Yuer, Yin, Yu Shizu Chun. Yuer, heirs you Emperor's long, Xiao Shui Yu smile. Yu Lu Yu Yang wanted to become a Wu. Yin Wu, Yu Wu. Yu Tian Lu Wu. Ling, Lu Yu Yin. Yu was and Lu. Xia Yu Yin had made a fool out of her poem, and now Wu Yuer had been abandoned by the Empress Dowager. She was the only one left, so entering the palace as a concubine would most likely fall to her. Her heart was beating fast, and she was so nervous that she almost couldn't breathe. Her eyes looked at Empress Dowager Zhou, waiting for her to call her name. In order to be able to shock everyone with her skills, she purposely brought the jade zither that she often used. This was an ancient zither with a clear and melodious sound. It was also extremely expensive. Chapter 461. Lu Wanting first proudly looked at Xia Yuyan and Wu Yuer before walking in front of Empress Dowager Zhou with a happy expression. She looked up at Empress Dowager Zhou and revealed a faint smile. Empress Dowager, Wanner especially prepared a beautiful song for Empress Dowager. It's called Song of Birds and Fragrance of Flowers. It's a famous song that has been lost for a long time. Legend has it that when this song is played beautifully, you can smell the faint fragrance of flowers, and it can even attract the singing of birds. Wanner especially practiced it for a long time. After she said this, Xiaoyu Yin and Wu Yu'er both pursed their lips and revealed looks of disdain. Just based on her frivolous and flamboyant appearance, the Empress Dowager also looked down on her. Empress Dowager Zhou smiled as she pulled Lu Wanting's hand. She stroked her hair and placed a pearl hairpin in her hair. Good child, this widow understands your filial piety, but this widow is a bit tired today. I'll summon you to the palace to play the zither for this widow another day. Lu Wanting's eyes popped open and she was instantly stunned. She had carefully prepared a zither song, but the Empress Dowager did not even want to listen to it. Empress Dowager, how could she let go of this rare chance? She still wanted to say something. Su Jin had already cut her off. Miss Wanner, it is already quite late. The Empress Dowager has just recovered from her illness and needs to rest for 2 hours at this time every day. If you want to play the zither for the Empress Dowager, there will be chances in the future. The Empress Dowager will summon you to the palace again. So why are you in such a rush? Lu Wanting's face turned red, and she was stunned like a wooden chicken. Xiaoyu Yin reminded her, Little sister Wanner, you still haven't thanked the Empress Dowager for her grace. Wanner thanks the Empress Dowager. Lu Wanting's nails dug deep in her palms, and she was so angry that she almost spat out blood. Empress Dowager Zhou waved her hand for Xiaoyu Yin to come closer. She also helped her put on a hairpin and said with a smile, This widow is tired. I can't compare to you young girls. Ding Yuan Princess, help this widow send these 3 girls out of the palace. After saying this, she slowly stood up from the chair and said, Emperor, send this widow back. Mo Chuan's deep eyes flashed. Yes, mother. He supported Empress Dowager Zhou as they walked step by step into the peaceful life palace. The 3 young girls behind him reluctantly watched his tall and straight back slowly disappear from their sight. The excitement, and secret joy they had before entering the palace had all disappeared. What replaced it was a sense of loss. Their wish to enter the palace to serve the emperor might never come true again. Ladies, please. Chen Ning knew that Empress Dowager Zhou had something to say to Mo Chuan and didn't want her to hear it, so she sent her away. Hearing this, Wu Yu'er and Lu Wanting couldn't help glaring at her, their hearts filled with hate. Although they knew Chen Ning's identity, they couldn't help feeling jealous of her, especially when they saw that the emperor's gaze always seemed to linger on her body, intentionally or unintentionally. Both of their hearts were filled with all sorts of emotions. Xiaoyu Yan's attitude towards Chen Ning was much friendlier. Especially after hearing Chen Ning's mountaineering poem, her feelings towards Chen Ning could only be described as admiration. It was like looking up at a high mountain, yearning for it. Princess Consort, Yu Yan's words have offended you before. I hope you don't take offense. Chapter 462. All right, then I'll call you Big Sister Ning from now on, and you can call me Little Sister Yin. Xiaoyu Yin was filled with joy. The 2 of them held hands and walked out while talking. Wu Yu'er and Lu Wanting followed behind them. They were angry and disappointed, having listless looks on their faces. When they arrived in front of the peaceful life palace, Chen Ning stopped and said goodbye to Xiaoyu Yin. Little Sister Yin, forgive me for not being able to send you off, but the Empress Dowager has ordered that I can't leave the peaceful life palace. If Little Sister Yin is summoned by the Empress Dowager again, then we can chat again. She pursed her lips into a smile. On the way here, she and Xiaoyu Yin had a good chat. Although Xiaoyu Yin was a bit arrogant, it was because she had been flattered all year round. After suffering a setback in the palace today, that sharp edge had faded a lot and she had become much gentler. Xiaoyu Yin was a bit reluctant as she pulled her hand and said, Big Sister Ning, if you want to see me, you can invite me into the palace at any time. I can see that the Empress Dowager likes Big Sister Ning a lot. So, as long as you say it, it will definitely happen. Wu Yuer and Lu Wanting's eyes lit up, and they secretly scolded themselves for being muddle-headed. There was such a good chance in front of them, and they actually didn't take it, letting Xia Yuyan take it for nothing. The two of them stood to the left and right, pushing Xia Yuyan aside. They began to fawn over Chun Ning, calling her Big Sister Ning over and over again. Big Sister Ning, next time you want to invite Big Sister Xia, remember to mention my name to the Empress Dowager. I also want to see Big Sister Ning again. That's right, Big Sister Ning, want her, and you're like old friends. You are like my blood-related big sister. Wanner hopes to be close to Big Sister Ning. Chun Ning's lips slightly curled up, and she revealed a faint smile. She could tell who was real and who was fake with a single glance, but it was a pity they found the wrong person. She was not a delicious cake in Empress Dowager Zhou's eyes, but rather a thorn in her flesh. After today, Empress Dowager Zhou's disgust for her would increase by another layer. After sending off the three girls, Chun Ning stood at the palace gates. She watched the three palanquins pass through the long and quiet palace path, passing through the palace gates and finally disappearing. She silently stood there for a while. She estimated that Empress Dowager Zhou and Mo Chuan should have finished speaking, so she slowly turned around and walked into the palace. Suddenly, he heard hurried footsteps coming from the palace path. Your Highness, Your Highness. That voice was a bit familiar. Chun Ning stopped and turned around. She saw a blue-clothed manservant rushing over. Why are you here? Chun Ning took another look and found that this blue-clothed manservant was the one named Xiao and Zi that served Chu Xiaoyang. Her brows instantly knit together. She felt disgusted whenever she saw anyone around Chu Xiaoyang. Even thinking of his name, she wanted to vomit. She could never forget what Chu Xiaoyang wanted to do to her in the carriage that day. Greetings, Princess Consort. Xiao and Zi bowed down to her. Chun Ning coldly said, What are you doing here? Chapter 463. Chun Ning did not take it and said with an expressionless face, There's no need. The Empress Dowager is very good to me, and I don't lack anything here. Take this back and tell him not to send any gifts in the future. I'll just throw one away. After she said this, she turned to leave. Princess Consort, this is a gift from His Highness. His Highness said that it's fine if you don't take it, but you can take a look. If you don't take a look, perhaps you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Xiao and Zi's voice came from behind her. It was still that humble and careful, but it made Chun Ning feel a chill run down her spine. She turned around and saw Xiao and Zi holding a fist-sized box in his hand. It was square, and he was holding it high up. What is this? She stared fixedly at the brocade box and walked over step by step. When she picked up the brocade box, she felt that it was light, but her heart sank. For a moment, she didn't dare to open it to take a look. This servant does not know. This servant's words were all taught to this servant by His Highness. His Highness said that this gift can only be seen by the Princess Consort. If a second person knew about this, then His Highness would destroy this gift. Xiao Quanzi kneeled on the ground and said without raising his head. Chun Ning's hand holding the box slightly trembled. She took a deep breath and slowly opened the box. Just taking a look, her body violently trembled. She almost couldn't hold the box as it swayed. There was only a single thing in the box. It was a bloody finger. The fingertip was slender and the texture was delicate. With a single glance, it could be seen that this was a girl's pinky. Chun Ning did not even need to think to know who the owner of this finger was. She also knew why Chu Xiaoyang had given her this gift. Her eyes became hot and tears began to pour out. Her legs became weak and she swayed, almost falling over. Princess Consort, be careful. Xiao Quanzi quickly jumped up from the ground and grabbed her arm. He also took the box from her hands and put it into his chest. At the same time, he whispered in her ear, His Highness told this servant to tell the concubine that he will be waiting for the concubine in the flowing cloud pavilion. However, other than the concubine, he doesn't want to see anyone else. Otherwise, the concubine will never see Miss Xiaoru again. After saying these words, he took 2 steps back and stood with his hands by his side. He still had the appearance of a humble and obedient servant. Chun Ning finally realized that this Xiao Quanzi, who didn't reveal anything actually knew martial arts. Her entire body was trembling from anger. Her teeth tightly bit her lips until she tasted blood on the tip of her tongue. Her hands clenched into fists as she stared straight at Zi. Zi kept his head down the entire time, not making a single sound. "All right, go tell Chu Xiaoyang that Chunning will return. I will definitely return. If he dares to harm Xiao Ru before I return, I will take his life." She forcefully spat out each word. "That's right. This servant will follow your orders. This servant will not miss a single word from the princess consort's words to His Highness. Please take care of yourself, princess consort. This servant will leave now." Zi placed the bag in his hand at Chunning's feet and slowly backed away, all the way to the door. Chapter 464. Her mind went blank, and all she could see in front of her was that bloody finger. Her body began to tremble. She closed her eyes, and the tears she had been holding back began to fall once again. Xiao Ru, I've harmed you. It's all because I've harmed you," she silently shouted in her heart. She opened her mouth, but it was like her throat was hoarse. She couldn't say a single word. She walked aimlessly, her eyes misty with tears. She had no idea where she was going. "Princess consort, please wait. The Empress Dowager has ordered that you are not allowed to take a single step out of the palace." Suddenly, a black-clothed figure appeared from the side and bowed to her, blocking her path. Chunning calmed herself down and raised her sleeve to wipe her tears. She found that there was a black-clothed guard in front of her, and in a daze, she almost mistook him for Imo Chuan. She finally saw that she was in front of the Peaceful Life Palace again. So she nodded and turned to walk in. Calm. She had to be calm. She couldn't lose her composure. She kept telling herself in her heart, but how could she calm down? Only she knew how important Xiao Ru was to her. Seeing that finger, it was like a piece of flesh had been dug out from her body. It was a bone-piercing pain. Chu Xiaoyang, you actually dared to hurt Xiao Ru, and you even used her life to threaten me. Good, very good. Chen Ning, swear that I will make you regret this. She took a deep breath and tightly clenched her fists. She could feel all the blood in her body surging. Because of her anger and excitement, her body began to tremble again. However, her back was straight and her eyes revealed a determined look as she walked forward step by step. The moment she turned around, she had already made a decision. Ninger, what's wrong? Suddenly, she fell into a warm and firm embrace. That familiar scent wafted into her nose, causing the dried tears in her eyes to once again flow out. She was like a wronged child as she threw herself into his arms and tightly hugged him, pressing her tear-stained face tightly against his chest. Imo Chuan's arms couldn't help tightening, and his dark eyes became deep and dark. She was crying. He could feel her hot tears soaking the clothes on his chest, and her body trembling in his embrace. What happened to her? Was she bullied, or was she frightened? He had only left her for half an incense stick of time. What had happened in this time? She cried silently in his arms, causing his heart to ache violently. Little Four, go and find out what happened just now and who came here, he coldly ordered. Then, he carried her in his arms and strode towards the temple hall. When he pushed open the door of the temple hall, he was stunned. The soft couch that belonged to her in the Buddha hall had disappeared, and the inside was swept clean. Even the praying mat in front of the Buddha shrine was the only thing left. Emperor, the Empress Dowager has ordered that the princess consort has already moved into the West Warm Pavilion. So the princess consort's things have already been moved into the West Warm Pavilion. A palace maid's timid voice came from behind him. The maid was cleaning the temple, but when she saw the emperor carrying a young girl in, she quickly kneeled down, but Imo Chuan did not even look at her. Chapter 465. Warm West Pavilion. Imo Chuan's eyes sparkled, and he immediately understood what Empress Dowager Zhou meant. His lips curled into a cold smile. Get out. The maid quickly left in a panic. As soon as she left the door, the two doors slammed shut, almost breaking her nose. She looked at the closed doors in a daze, and her heart began to beat fast in fear. The emperor was carrying the Dingyuan princess. They were a single man and woman. They were in the temple with the doors closed. What were they doing? She was so scared that her teeth began to chatter. She suddenly felt like a disaster was about to befall her. Mo Chuan turned around, and his eyes swept across the temple, falling onto the table. He carried her over, and with a wave of his sleeve, he swept away all the ink and paper on the table. Then he gently placed her down on the table and held her shoulders, looking at her red, teary eyes. Tell me what happened. Even if you don't say it, this one will still find out. He said word for word. He understood her personality. She was the kind of person who would rather keep everything in her heart and solve everything by herself. She did not like to rely on others. But he was not someone else. He hoped that he would be the first person she thought of when she was helpless, sad, and in need of help. Even if she poked a hole in the heavens, he would be willing to hold it for her, as long as she was willing to tell him. Chunning shook her head. She couldn't say it. Chu Xiaoyang had sent Xiao Ru's finger to threaten her, not letting her say a single word to Mo Chuan. Otherwise, he would take Xiao Ru's life. She wiped her tears and tightly hugged the bag at her chest. In a soft voice, she said, "It's nothing. I'm just in a bad mood. I'll be fine after crying for a bit." Bad mood? Who was she trying to fool? Mo Chuan did not believe a single word. When he sent Empress Dowager Zhou off, she was clearly in a good mood. Originally, Empress Dowager Zhou had set up this feast to make a fool of her, but she had shocked everyone's eyes and shined brightly. So how could she be in a bad mood? The one in a bad mood should be his mother. Only she wasn't willing to say it. He knew that he wouldn't be able to get anything out of her, not to mention that he was never willing to force her. At that moment, there were 2 soft knocks on the window. Xiao Si had returned. Mo Chuan appeared in front of the window and said in a deep voice, "What did you find?" Reporting to the emperor, "This servant has asked the guards at the palace gates." When the princess consort sent off the 3 girls, she saw a person. Xiao Si reported from outside the window in a low voice. "Who is it?" "It's one of King Ding Yuan's close aides. He's called Xiao and Zi." According to the palace guards, Xiao and Zi took King Ding Yuan's token into the palace and gave the princess consort some clothes. After Xiao and Zi gave the things to the princess consort, he quickly left and did not stay for long. However, the guard also said that when the princess consort saw Xiao and Zi, her face turned pale and she couldn't even stand straight. Luckily, Xiao and Zi was alert and supported the princess consort. Other than that, there was nothing else. Xiao Si knew what his master cared about the most, so he was especially clear about it, not missing a single detail. "I understand. Go guard the outside and don't let anyone in," Mo Chuan coldly ordered. Chu Xiaoyang. It really was Chu Xiaoyang. He had already guessed it. Other than Chu Xiaoyang, there was no one else that could make her like this. Chapter 466. She did not believe that Chu Xiaoyang would be so kind as to just send some clothes for her. Mo Chuan's eyes fell onto the tightly wrapped bag in her arms. He slowly walked over and reached out to take it, but she tightly hugged it and avoided his hand. "Don't move." She did not want him to see what was inside the bag. What if it was? She gave a cold shiver and did not dare think about it anymore. Mo Chuan's heart suddenly felt a sharp pain as his dark eyes stared right at her. Why did she treat this bag like a treasure? Was it because this bag was given to her by Chu Xiaoyang? Did she value the things he gave her that much? All right, then tell me. What did Chu Xiaoyang tell Xiao and Zi to tell you? Mo Chuan suppressed his anger and asked in a commanding tone. She slowly raised her head, and her expression had already calmed down. The tears in her eyes had not dried yet, and her eyes were dark and bright, filled with water. She silently looked at him for a while before saying in a soft voice, "He sent Xiao and Zi to give me this bag. There are some of my clothes inside. Do you want to take a look?" In front of him, she opened the bag. Xiao and Zi did not lie. The bag was filled with her clothes, and they were all things she had worn before. The most obvious thing was that there were 2 sets of hunting clothes, one light green and one light blue. Other than the clothes, there were also some simple jewelry. She was stunned and slightly knit her brows. Why did Chu Xiaoyang send her these things? He clearly knew that she would not lack for clothes or jewelry in the palace. She looked through the bag and found a small brocade box. Her heart suddenly skipped a beat, and her face unknowingly turned white. What is this? Mo Chuan picked up the brocade box. Seeing her pale face, he was filled with doubt. I don't know. You, open it and take a look, she said in a low voice. She did not have the courage to look at that bloody scene again. It's a peach blossom that has just been picked. This Chu Xiaoyang, what is he doing? Mo Chuan knit his brows. Peach blossom. Chen Ning's eyes opened wide, and she looked into the brocade box. It really was a peach blossom that had just bloomed. It was pink and tender, and the dew on the petals had not dried yet. She only took a look and let out a sigh of relief. Tell me, if he just gave you some clothes, why are you crying? Why are you afraid? Mo Chuan stared into her eyes and said in a deep voice, She bit her lips. She didn't want to lie to him, but how could she tell him? I'm afraid that as soon as I hear his name, I won't be able to stop myself from recalling what happened that day. I don't want to see him again, and I don't want to hear his name. I don't want to hear anything related to him, and I don't want to see anyone around him. She suddenly threw the bag onto the ground, and the clothes and jewelry fell onto the ground. She jumped down and forcefully stepped on it. I don't want anything from him. Her face was red, like an angry animal. Mo Chuan Xiao and Chun like as to say. He reached out and pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. His chin rested on the top of her head. Her hair exuded a faint fragrance that made him feel intoxicated. Chapter 467. He hugged her so hard that she almost couldn't breathe, but she didn't want to struggle at all. The feeling of being hugged by him was very beautiful. She closed her eyes and really wanted to stay in his embrace like this for the rest of her life, never leaving again. Mo Chuan. She looked up from his embrace and looked into his eyes. This gaze was filled with love, and it made his heart skip a beat. He lowered his head, and his eyes became deep. The tip of his nose almost touched hers, and his heart beat faster. Her lips slightly opened, but she hesitated. She just gave a soft sigh, and her eyes revealed a trace of confusion. It would be good if you weren't the emperor. You could take me far away from everything here, far away from the chaos of the palace, far away from the schemes, and far away from the power struggles. We could be a free and unfettered couple. This kind of day is what I've been dreaming of. What do you want to say? His voice was hoarse. His thin lips gently touched the tip of her nose, and his gaze fell on her rosy, cherry lips. Her body exuded a faint, sweet fragrance that filled his nostrils. He really wanted to take it a step further. This is what I owe you, so I'll return it to you. She suddenly stood on her tiptoes and quickly placed a kiss on his lips. Gently, it was like a soft and warm thing was placed on his lips. He was stunned, his eyes widening as he stared at her in disbelief. Before he could react, she had already broken free from his embrace. Her face had a shy blush as she turned to run out the door. Only when her figure disappeared from the door did he realize what had just happened. She actually took the initiative to kiss him, but he was like a wooden man, not reacting at all. Mo Chuan did not chase after her. His heart was beating very quickly, and his heart was filled with waves. It was filled with excitement and joy, as well as an indescribable sweetness and excitement. Of course, there was even more regret. How could he not react? How could he let her slip away from his arms? But he couldn't be blamed because he had no experience and because she had surpassed his expectations. His entire body was stunned at that time. He recalled the taste of that short kiss. It was too fast, so fast that he almost didn't feel it. It was just a light touch, and then it left. He couldn't help but stick out the tip of his tongue to moisten his lips. Her lips had just touched his, but he tasted a faint bitterness. He was stunned again. This was their first kiss. It should be sweet. How could it be bitter? Then he understood, because her lips were stained with her tears. All right, this sly girl. When he was done with his political affairs, he would come back to find her. At that time, he would hold on her tightly and not allow her to escape. He wanted to taste her seriously and see if it was bitter or sweet. Imo Chuan's eyes had never been this bright before, and his heart had never been this high before. When he walked out of the Buddha hall, his whole body felt light, as if he was walking in the clouds. Even the corners of his lips were curled up slightly. When he saw Xiao Si, he actually smiled at Xiao Si. This gentle smile made Xiao Si's hair stand on end. Xiao Si stealthily took a few steps back, stealthily stroking the hair on his arms, his little heart still beating wildly. What was wrong with the emperor? Why was he smiling at him in such an amorous manner? Chapter 468. Chen Ning left the temple and headed straight for Empress Dowager Zhou's room. As she expected, Empress Dowager Zhou had not gone to bed yet. The maid responsible for cleaning was kneeling in front of Empress Dowager Zhou. Seeing her come in, she was so scared that her body trembled and she lowered her head. Empress Dowager Zhou looked at her with an expressionless face and waved her hand. "You can all leave." The eunuchs and maids all quietly left. Empress Dowager Zhou even sent Su Jin away. In this large room, there was only the two of them left. A strange and awkward atmosphere filled the air. Empress Dowager Zhou stared at Chen Ning, not saying a word. It was impossible to tell if she was happy or angry. Chen Ning allowed her to look at her. She silently stood there and bit her lower lip with a calm expression on her face. Empress Dowager Zhou's heart kept churning. She had 100 reasons to cut off the head of this girl in front of her, but she also had 100 reasons to forgive her. To kill or not to kill, her heart was in a mess, making her unable to make a decision. In all fairness, she did not hate Chen Ning and even had a faint appreciation and fondness for her. If this girl's status was not the Dingyuan princess, or if she was a girl from a common family, Empress Dowager Zhou would not feel this awkward. She would not hesitate to marry her son to her. But she was a girl her son couldn't even touch. This was the first time Empress Dowager Zhou had encountered such a headache. She rubbed her forehead and felt her head begin to ache again. Although Chen Ning's medicine had cured her insomnia, her sleep was becoming more and more restless. She was always on edge, worried that something would happen between her son and this girl in front of her. If something really happened in front of her, she did not know how to clean up this mess. The best solution was to send this girl away before anything happened. Send her back to where she came from, completely cutting off the emperor's thoughts. But thinking of her saving his life, Empress Dowager Zhou found it hard to say. She was even more worried that if the emperor knew that she was the one who sent her away, it would be hard to protect the mother and son relationship. So she hesitated several times. Chen Ning suddenly took a step forward and kneeled down in front of her. "Empress Dowager, this minister's daughter has a request." "Oh, let's hear it." Empress Dowager Zhou declined to comment. "This subject's daughter wants to leave this place." She raised her head and met Empress Dowager Zhou's suspicious gaze. "Leave this place? Where are you going?" "This minister's daughter is now the King Dingyuan princess, so naturally I have to return to the King Dingyuan palace. This minister's daughter wants the Empress Dowager's permission to let this minister's daughter return." "What? You want to go?" Chen Ning's words shocked Empress Dowager Zhou. She stared at Chen Ning without blinking, wanting to see if she was being sincere or not. The emperor's feelings for her, she was clearer than anyone else. How could she suddenly let go and voluntarily return to Chu Xiaoyang's side, especially after what Chu Xiaoyang had done to her? Could it be that this lass was taking a step back in order to advance and was trying to probe him? There was Dowager Ning. Yang said, "King Chun Ning, Dowager Chong." In this world, which girl didn't want to climb up the social ladder? Which girl didn't want to be the emperor's woman? Chun Ning shook her head. "Empress Dowager, I have never thought of becoming the emperor's woman. Before entering the palace, I didn't know he was the emperor." Chapter 469. From the first time she saw him, her intuition told her that she couldn't offend this man, otherwise there would be a lot of trouble. Now, her intuition had come true. Empress Dowager Zhou slowly nodded. She could see that this girl was telling the truth. "All right, then this widow will immediately send you back." It was like a large stone had been lifted from her heart, and her entire body became relaxed. Empress Dowager, this matter. It's best not to let him know. Chun Ning forcefully bit her lower lip. This widow understands. Empress Dowager, Zhou nodded again. Her eyes looking at Chun Ning unknowingly became gentle. Once the hostility disappeared, she found that she was a bit sorry for this girl. She clearly knew that Chu Xiaoyang was a hungry wolf, but she still had to personally send her into the wolf's mouth. But only like this could they maintain the royal family's dignity and stop the mouths of the people of the world. Empress Dowager, Zhou, came down from the couch and personally held Chun Ning's hand. She patted the back of her hand. This widow knows that you are a good girl, only. She wanted to say something to comfort the other side, but she found that when she met those clear eyes, she felt that no matter what she said, it would be very pale and fake. She did not say anything in the end, but after Chun Ning left, she looked at the empty room and let out a faint sigh. Chun Ning entered the palanquin, waiting outside the palace gates. She was alone, not bringing anything with her. Just like how she came empty-handed, she was also leaving empty-handed. There was no reluctance or reluctance. This palace was not a place she longed for. Although there was a person she loved and loved here, she did not belong here. The palanquin sent her to the imperial city gates, where Empress Dowager Zhou had already prepared carriage. Chun Ning walked out of the palanquin and was prepared to enter the carriage when she suddenly heard hurried footsteps behind her. Princess Consort. She was a bit surprised. She thought that Mo Chuan had sent people to chase after her, but when she turned around, she found that it was Su Jin. Aunt Su Jin, thank you for taking care of me these past few days. She revealed a faint smile. In these few days in the peaceful life palace, Su Jin had taken good care of her, making her feel very grateful. Su Jin bowed to her. Princess Consort, the Empress Dowager has a reward. Reward? Chun Ning's eyes fell onto the eunuchs behind Su Jin. They were all carrying several large boxes. Seeing Chun Ning look over, the eunuchs opened the boxes. They were all filled with luxurious clothes and beautiful jewelry, each one looking very expensive. Something that Empress Dowager Zhou could take out as a reward. How could it be something normal? But when Su Jin saw the smile that slowly appeared on Chun Ning's lips, her face felt hot. She couldn't help but blame the Empress Dowager for sending her to do such an embarrassing thing. She did not care about these things at all. Chun Ning said with a smile, Aunt Su Jin, help me thank the Empress Dowager for these gifts. I really like these gifts, so I'll have to trouble the gongs to help me put them in the carriage. Su. Aunt Su Jin, we'll meet again. She smiled and shook Su Jin's hand, then turned around and boarded the car. But without knowing why, Su Jin's heart felt very heavy, like a large stone was pressing down on it. It was an indescribable feeling of discomfort. The carriage quickly left the palace. Chun Ning lifted the curtain and took one last look at the imperial city in the twilight. Goodbye, the palace. Chapter 470. King Ding Yuan's Palace. Reporting to Your Highness, the Princess Consort's carriage has already left the palace gates and will arrive at the palace gates in, at most, an hour. Chu Xiaoyang sat in the chair, and his eyes swept over the secret guard kneeling in front of him. His lips curled into a smile, and his expression filled with joy. His heart was filled with anticipation and excitement. She was coming back. She was finally coming back. From a moment he sent Xiao and Zi into the palace, he knew that she would come back sooner or later, so he had already sent the secret guards outside the palace gates to gather information. In the end, she really did as he wished. She really couldn't wait. She couldn't even wait for a single day. It seemed like the chess piece in his hand was not shallow at all in her heart. He had to make good use of it. As long as he had this chess piece in his hand, he wasn't afraid of her flying into the sky. So what if she flew into the sky? Didn't she still obediently return to his embrace? Chu Xiaoyang narrowed his eyes and revealed a satisfied smile on his handsome face. If he, Chu Xiaoyang, wanted something, he had never failed to obtain it before. Has the flowing cloud pavilion been cleaned? He slightly raised his brows and revealed a smile from the corner of his eyes. Even his voice became a bit gentler, no longer as cold and hard as before. Reporting to your highness, it's been cleaned up. These servants have been cleaning up every day, waiting for the princess consort's return. Chun Tao and Xia He kneeled on the ground, not daring to raise their heads as they replied in a trembling voice. Although Chu Xiaoyang was in a good mood today, and his voice was much gentler than usual, in the hearts of these two maids, he was like a demon, a true demon. Very good. You will continue to stay in the Flowing Cloud Pavilion and wait for this king's princess to come back. You have to serve her well. You are not allowed to make her angry at all. Also, no one is allowed to say anything, otherwise this king will cut off their tongues. Is that clear? The smile on Chu Xiaoyang's face did not diminish as he looked around. All the servants kneeled on the ground, not daring to make a sound. Chun Tao and Xia He's heads almost fell to the ground as they trembled in fear. Chu Xiaoyang stood up and dusted off the wrinkles on his robe, revealing a charming smile. Everyone follow this king to welcome the princess back. This king wants to give her a large surprise. Yes, your highness. The dusk slowly deepened, slowly filling the carriage. Chen Ning sat in the carriage with her eyes closed and a calm expression. She did not think about Mo Chuan because she did not dare think about him. Just thinking about him would cause her heart to ache, and she would not be able to calm down. What she needed the most right now was to be calm. Her mind was filled with Chu Xiaoyang. She was calmly analyzing the situation. What kind of person was he? What kind of feelings did he have for her? What state of mind did he have? The old clothes he sent into the palace today, every single one of them was worn by her. This wasn't the main point. The main point was that every time she saw him, every single one of them was worn by her. At that time, didn't he hate her so much that he wanted nothing more than for her to die? Chu Chenning Chinshan, didn't he? As for that peach blossom, it was just a teasing remark from her, but he actually remembered it. Could it be that, toward her, he had already fallen in love with her before he even realized it? Was that why he remembered every piece of clothing she had worn and every word she had said so clearly and deeply? Could it be that the one he really liked wasn't the original body that saved him 8 years ago, but the one he had transmigrated to? Chapter 471. The carriage finally came to a stop. Chen Ning knew that they had reached their destination. She had returned to the king's palace that was like a cage. She took a deep breath and stood up. Since she had made a decision, she would not regret it. The palace was not her safe haven, and she could not stay in the palace forever. What she had to face and what she had to solve it sooner or later. She just did not like fighting a battle she had no confidence in. Before she could think of a way to get rid of the identity of the Dingyuan princess, she did not want to face Chu Xiaoyang. But she had to save Xiao Ru from Chu Xiaoyang's hands. She raised the curtain and prepared to leave the carriage, but she was suddenly stunned. The place where the carriage stopped was not in front of the King Dingyuan Palace's gates, but rather in a remote back alley. In the dim twilight, the alley was deep and dark, releasing a kind of dark and gloomy atmosphere. Who are you? Why did you bring the carriage here? Chen Ning's eyes fell onto the carriage driver. He was wearing the uniform of a royal guard, and his back was facing her. When the carriage driver heard this, he slowly turned around. The hat on his head was low, so she could not see his face. He stood up and walked over to Chen Ning step by step. For a moment, she thought that this guard was Mo Chuan in disguise. But it wasn't. He was shorter than Mo Chuan by a head and thinner than Mo Chuan. The hand holding the horse whip was black and rough. Stop, she coldly reprimanded, but the carriage driver ignored her and continued to walk over. She couldn't help backing up into the carriage. Her back hit the cold wall of the carriage, and there was no way back. Asterisk at this moment. The King Ding Yuan Palace's gates were decorated with lanterns. There was a row of large red lanterns. Looking from afar, it was filled with a joyous atmosphere. Chu Xiaoyang was wearing a duck blue brocade robe, making his figure look tall and slender. His face was like jade, and his handsome face was filled with vigor. There were quite a few commoners looking from afar, thinking that His Highness was going to marry someone new. They couldn't help whispering to each other and discussing. Someone come. Go see why the princess carriage hasn't arrived yet. Chu Xiaoyang looked in the direction of the street. He had already waited for an incense stick of time, but there was no sign of the carriage. The longer he waited, the more anxious he became. Yes, Your Highness. A black figure flew out like the wind, quickly disappearing into the darkness. The smile on Chu Xiaoyang's face slowly froze. He stared in the direction of the palace, and a strange feeling of unease filled his heart. Did she suddenly change her mind and didn't want to come back? Did she suddenly change her mind and not want to come back? Suddenly, his ears twitched as he heard the sound of hooves and wheels approaching from afar. His taut face relaxed, and the smile on his lips grew wider. A palace carriage appeared in his line of sight in the night. She came. Chu Xiaoyang was filled with excitement as he walked down the steps with a smile. The carriage suddenly stopped, and the one driving it was the hidden guard from before. Chu King Ning, he said. He Chu, King, Chu. King. King S. Ning, a king. Off. Chu. What? Chu Xiaoyang's expression changed, and he jumped into the carriage without even thinking. He opened the curtain and saw that there wasn't a single person in the carriage. Impossible. Chapter 472. Chu Xiaoyang tightly knit his brows. His eyes suddenly flashed as he saw a few black things in the corner of the carriage. It was too dark, so he couldn't see them clearly. Someone, light the lanterns. Housekeeper Su personally picked up a large lantern and climbed onto the carriage. Illuminating the carriage, he found that there were several large gift boxes. He opened the boxes one by one and saw the jewels and satin. Even though he had seen many treasures in the king's palace, he still couldn't help secretly smacking his lips. Your Highness, the princess consort must have been on the carriage. These gift boxes should be the palace treasures that the Empress Dowager gave her. He carefully said. Chu Xiaoyang's face was so dark that it seemed like it was about to drip water. He suddenly sent out a kick and kicked housekeeper Su and the lantern out of the carriage. Nonsense! He angrily and anxiously cursed. There was still a faint aura lingering in the carriage. It was her scent, but she had disappeared. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes wandered around the carriage. His heart felt like it was being fried, but his face was still expressionless. Suddenly, he reached out and took a piece of cloth from a protruding nail on the wall of the carriage. It was soft and smooth to the touch. It was actually a good piece of satin. He brought it to his nose and sniffed it. His face became even uglier. The cloth had her scent on it, and it was torn from her clothes. What did she encounter? Why would her clothes be torn by a nail? She must have retreated to this corner. She must have encountered danger. Chu Xiaoyang's handsome face twisted. You, tell this king, where did you find this carriage? He walked out of the carriage with large steps and pointed at the hidden guard who had driven the carriage. The hidden guard replied, it was in a secluded alley. When this subordinate arrived, he only saw this carriage. The driver and the princess consort were all gone. That's right, this subordinate also found this bag in a corner not far away. Open it, Chu Xiaoyang said in a sharp voice. The bundle was opened, and inside was the uniform of an imperial bodyguard. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes turned cold, and he jumped off the carriage. He actually personally looked through the clothes, looking at each one very carefully. That's right. These were the clothes of the palace guards, but why would they appear here? Yes, someone must have pretended to be a guard, a coachman, and then took her away by surprise. Who was it? Who did it? Could it be the emperor? It had to be the emperor. Chu Xiaoyang tightly gripped the cloth in his hand, and his eyes turned cold. He suddenly sent out a palm and broke the shaft of the carriage. Then he jumped onto the back of the horse and galloped off in the direction of the palace. The flames of anger in his heart burned fiercely. Apart from anger, there was also a strong, killing intent surging in his heart. The horse beneath him ran as if it was flying. In one breath, he reached the gates of the imperial city. The horse was already foaming at the mouth. Greetings to your highness. When the imperial guards saw his murderous look, they were all startled. Although they saluted, they secretly gripped the sabers on their waists. This king has an important matter to discuss with the Empress Dowager. If you block this king, die. Chu Xiaoyang raised the royal token high up. His eyes were red and his muscles were twisted, making people tremble in fear. Seeing this, the royal guards could not help but retreat. No one dared to stop them. Chu Xiaoyang took large steps and quickly ran towards the Empress Dao's peaceful life palace. Empress Dowager Zhou had just eaten dinner, and she did not have a good appetite. She only ate a few mouthfuls before her chest felt stuffy, so she took Su Jin for a walk in the yard to digest. Chapter 473. The temple door was open and there were only 2 red candles burning in front of the shrine, but there was no one inside. Empress Dowager Zhou only took a look before giving an almost imperceptible sigh and continuing to walk forward. Su Jin wanted to say something several times, but she swallowed it back down. She was just a servant and an old person in the palace. She knew what she could say and what she couldn't say. Empress Dowager Zhou habitually walked in the direction of the spring jade. Whenever she felt dizzy, she couldn't help sniffing the flower to clear her mind. But after taking 2 steps, she remembered that the flower had disappeared. Tomorrow I'll plant a spring jade orchid here. Empress Dowager Zhou looked at the empty hole in the ground for a bit before slowly turning around to walk back. After taking 2 steps, she stopped. Su Jin, tell me, did this widow do anything wrong today? She suddenly asked in a soft voice. Su Jin lowered her head and said in a low voice, "This servant doesn't know." Empress Dowager Zhou did not look at her and continued walking forward. Su Jin followed behind her, only hearing Empress Dowager Zhou's low voice, as if she was talking to herself. When this widow entered the palace in the past, I was the same age as her. After all these years, this widow's hair has turned white and there are wrinkles on my face. This widow is old. I'm no longer the young girl of the past, but this widow has also been young before, so how could I not understand a young girl's thoughts? Su Jin still did not say anything. She knew that Empress Dowager Zhou only needed a pair of good ears. She did not need someone to listen to her. So she just silently listened. The emperor likes her. You like her. This widow also likes her. This widow is not willing to be the merciless stick that separates a couple, and this widow does not want the emperor to hate his mother. Only. Empress Dowager Zhou stopped in front of a begonia flower. The petals were soft and delicate. She gently stroked it, and her voice was filled with a cold intent. Only she cannot be left alive. Su Jin's body trembled as she watched Empress Dowager Zhou pluck the flower and crush the petals. She suddenly trembled and her eyes were filled with fear. Empress Dowager, she cried out in a low voice. Empress Dowager Zhou coldly looked at her. What? Do you think this widow will send someone to kill her? Su Jin bit her lips and did not say a word. Your guess is correct. This widow does want to kill her. As long as she dies, all of these troubles will disappear. But if this widow really sends someone to kill her, there is no wall in this world that doesn't leak. The emperor will find out sooner or later, and if that day comes, this widow will lose this son. Empress Dowager Zhou gave a sigh. She couldn't understand Mo Chuan's son better than anyone else. If she killed his beloved woman, he wouldn't even want his mother anymore. I didn't touch her. I only sent someone to send her back to where she came from. I hope that Xiaoyang will treat her well and that the emperor will slowly forget her. Being able to do this was already the greatest concession she could make. S.I. Dowager. Su. Su Jin observed Empress Dowager Zhou's expression and found that when Empress Dowager Zhou mentioned Chening, she was no longer as angry as before. Rather, there was a faint trace of pity and appreciation. Chapter 474. Help them? This is an impossible matter. What kind of status does she have? She is the emperor's niece-in-law. Do you want me to allow them to do such a shameful thing that goes against the morals of the world? Not to mention, this is related to the royal family's face. Empress Dowager Zhou said in a sharp voice. Su Jin lowered her head without saying a word. Empress Dowager Zhou stopped again. She seemed to have heard a noise coming from outside the palace and couldn't help knitting her brows. What is happening outside? This servant will go take a look. Su Jin quickly left, and after a while, she quickly came back. Empress Dowager, King Ding Yuan has entered the palace and is asking to see the Empress Dowager, but he has been stopped by the royal guards. He seems to be very angry, almost want to fight with the guards. When Empress Dowager Zhou heard this, she knit her brows. Why is he here? Didn't the princess already return to the palace? Su Jin, let him in. She sat down on a yellow pearwood chair. Royal grandmother. When Chu Xiaoyang saw Empress Dowager Zhou, he kneeled down and said through gritted teeth, I beg royal grandmother to take care of this grandson. Xiaoyang, stand up and speak. What happened? There were several dozen lanterns hanging in Empress Dowager Zhou's courtyard. She saw the veins on Chu Xiaoyang's forehead popping out and his eyes turning red. It was clear he was filled with rage. Royal grandmother, Immerse, she's gone. Chu Xiaoyang tightly clenched his fists and said in a calm voice, What did you say? Immerse gone? Empress Dowager Zhou was shocked and suddenly stood up from the chair. Her body swayed, and Su Jin quickly supported her with a look of shock on her face. The two of them stared at Chu Xiaoyang without blinking, almost not daring to believe their ears. Xiaoyang, speak clearly for this widow. You can't miss a single word. How did she disappear? When did she disappear? Just an hour ago. This widow sent people to send her away. How did she disappear? Empress Dowager Zhou's voice was strict, and her eyes revealed a sharp glow. Her first thought was that this brat was lying. It was very likely he had harmed the princess' life and ran into the palace to find her, accusing her first. Royal grandmother, suddenly disappeared on the way back to the palace. She also disappeared at the same time as the carriage driver. Imperial grandmother, please take a look. These are the guards' clothes that Xiaoyang found thrown away by the coachman near the carriage. Also, these are the pieces of clothes that Xiaoyang found in the carriage. Chu Xiaoyang told her everything that had happened. He also took out the royal guard uniform and the piece of cloth in his hand for Empress Dowager Zhou to see. This cloth belongs to the princess consort. Su Jin recognized it with a single glance. When Chunning left, she was wearing a dress of this color and material. Her face instantly turned white. Empress Dowager Zhou carefully listened to Chu Xiaoyang's narration, and her brows slowly knit together. The person she was suspicious of was not Chu Xiaoyang, but rather her hidden son. Other than the emperor, there was no one else who could do such a thing. No wonder Chu Xiaoyang rushed into the palace to find her. On the surface, it looked like he was complaining, but he was actually looking for her. But thinking about it, this was impossible. The emperor would not know of this matter. Chapter 475. So she did not plan on telling this matter to the emperor for now, hiding it for as long as she could. Not to mention that Chunning had only left the palace for less than 4 hours. Even if the emperor had eyes that could pierce through the heavens, it was impossible for him to know that she had been sent away in such a short period of time. Su Jin, prepare the sedan. This widow wants to see what the emperor is doing. Xiaoyang, you come with this widow. Although Empress Dowager Zhou did not believe that it was done by the emperor, other than the emperor, she could not think of anyone else who would have thoughts about Chunning. Who was the royal guard that disappeared with Chunning? Was he really a guard? Was he the one that kidnapped Chunning? Could it be that there really was such a bold guard? Because of Chunning's beauty, he was attracted to her and kidnapped Chunning? These questions swirled in her mind one after another, making her unable to answer them no matter how hard she thought about it. Su Jin, immediately send someone to investigate the identity of the guard who escorted the princess back to the palace. Then bring that person to the emperor's palace for this widow. This widow wants to ask the emperor clearly. After Empress Dowager Zhou gave this order, she boarded the sedan and headed for the emperor's palace. Chu Xiaoyang's face was dark as he followed behind Empress Dowager Zhou's sedan. His eyes were filled with a cold, killing intent. The so-called monks can run, but the temple can't run. The royal guards that could work in the palace were all people with backgrounds. They were definitely not normal people. He believed that there would not be a guard that was this bold, daring to have thoughts about his, Chu Xiao Yang's princess. So that royal guard had to be someone else pretending to be him. And the mastermind behind this matter had to be the emperor. He wanted to see if Empress Dowager Zhou would still wholeheartedly protect her emperor's son after she found out the truth of this matter. The group of people quickly arrived outside Mo Chuan's palace. The two eunuchs guarding the palace saw Empress Dowager Zhou's sedan from afar and quickly came forward to greet her. Empress Dowager Zhou came down from the sedan. She did not even look at the two of them as she walked in without saying a word. Empress Dowager, the emperor is not in his palace. The emperor is not here. Empress Dowager Zhou suddenly stopped and looked back at the eunuch kneeling on the ground. Her heart skipped a beat. Could this matter really be related to the emperor? The anger in her heart suddenly rose. Without saying anything, she turned around and boarded the carriage. To the royal study. She knew that the emperor was diligent. Every day, other than attending court, he would only stay in two places. One was the imperial study, where he read memorials, and the other was his bedroom. Sometimes he would read memorials late into the night, and it was common for him to stay in the study. The imperial study was not too far away from the sleeping chamber, and it only took half a cup of tea's time to arrive. Empress Dowager Zhou got off the sedan chair and angrily charged in. Suddenly a figure jumped out and kneeled in front of her. "Greetings, Empress Dowager." Empress Dowager Zhou calmed herself down and found that the person kneeling in front of her was Xiao Si. She said with a calm face, "Is the emperor inside?" "Empress Dowager, the emperor is to be on." Xiao Si replied. He had a bad feeling, as if the Empress Dowager was angry. He looked up and saw Chu Xiao Yang behind Empress Dowager Zhou, who also had a gloomy expression. He went on to Delong now. "Empress Dowager, please wait. The emperor is currently discussing political matters with the ministers. If the Empress Dowager goes in now, it might not be convenient." Xiao Si quickly replied. "Discussing political matters?" Chapter 476. How long has the emperor been inside? She asked again. After coming out of the Empress Dowager's palace, the emperor summoned several ministers. They have been in the imperial study the entire time and have not come out. Even the dinner was sent in by this servant. The emperor has ordered that no one is allowed to go in and disturb them, so this servant has been standing guard here. Xiao Si respectfully replied. Empress Dowager Zhou was stunned and repeated. After the emperor came out of this widow's palace, he's been in the royal study the entire time? Yes, Empress Dowager. Xiao Si does not dare lie to the Empress Dowager. Not only has the emperor not come out, the ministers inside have not come out either. Xiao Si replied with a bowed head. Empress Dowager Zhou gave an O sound. She thought that the emperor should not know about this matter. Since it was like this, she would hide it for now and let the emperor deal with the political matters first. She looked at Chu Xiao Yang and slowly said, Xiao Yang, this matter should not be related to the emperor. Let's return to the peaceful life palace and wait for Su Jin's news. How could Chu Xiao Yang be willing to leave? He was certain that this matter was done by the emperor. Although Xiao Si had testified that the emperor had not left the royal study, if he didn't see it with his own eyes, he would not believe that the person in the study was the emperor, not to mention that he had deep internal energy. Listening carefully, he could hear several people talking in the royal study, but those voices were definitely not the emperor's. Royal grandmother, the emperor is still busy with political matters this late. Xiao Yang is King Ding Yuan, so I should help the emperor. Xiao Yang wants to go in to greet the emperor and also greet the ministers. After he said this, he walked into the royal study with large steps and said in a clear voice, This minister Chu Xiao Yang has come to greet the emperor. King Ding Yuan, you really are bold, daring to enter the royal study without being summoned. Xiao Si was stunned. He quickly went forward to stop him, but it was already too late. As soon as Chu Xiao Yang's voice fell, he reached out and pushed open the door to the royal study with a pung sound. His lips curled as he looked into the room. Who would have thought that when he saw it, he would be stunned? In the royal study, Mo Chuan was sitting in front of the imperial desk. There were several documents in front of him with a serious expression. There were several ministers sitting around him, each one sitting upright. There was even a minister standing up with an excited expression, as if he was saying something. Everyone was shocked by Chu Xiaoyang's sudden appearance, and they all looked at him with strange gazes. Chu Xiaoyang opened his mouth and revealed an embarrassed expression, not knowing what to say at all. He had thought that the emperor was not in the study, but who knew that the emperor was here? King Ding Yuan, you've intruded into the study and disturbed the emperor. Do you know your crimes? Xiao Si charged forward and stood in front of Chu Xiaoyang, shouting at him. Mo Chuan slowly raised his eyes and looked at Chu Xiaoyang with a cold gaze. His face did not show any anger, but his eyes were filled with a cold intent. King Ding Yuan, you said you were sick this morning, so why are you here now? His voice was cold and emotionless, but it was filled with anger and mockery. The king, Chu Chu Chu. The ministers looked at Chu King Chen King. He King, with the King Dao saying, Chu He Prince, Emperor, King. King, Chu King Dower Chun Tian Chu Chu. Chu 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 the Emperor. Chapter 477. He had thought that Chen Ning had been kidnapped by the emperor, but seeing the scene in front of him, he realized that he was wrong. The one who kidnapped Chen Ning was definitely not the emperor, because the emperor did not know at all. A thought quickly appeared in his mind, which was that he could not let the emperor know of this matter. He had to find her before the emperor. Emperor, this minister. His face turned red as he tried to find a reason for himself. Empress Dowager, Zhou, slowly walked forward and appeared at the door of the royal study. She gave a soft cough. Mother. When Mo Chuan and the ministers saw her, they all revealed shocked expressions. Greetings, Mother. Mo Chuan was the first to come forward, and the ministers all bowed down. Everyone stand up. There's no need to be so polite. This widow only came to see the emperor and did not want to disturb her discussion. I hope that the sirs will not blame me. Empress Dowager Zhou spoke in a modest and polite manner because the imperial harem could not interfere with politics. Even as the Empress Dowager, she never asked about politics. She turned to look at Mo Chuan with a faint smile on her face. Emperor, Xiaoyang came to the palace to pay his respects to this widow. I heard that the emperor is still busy with politics, and he is worried about the emperor's body, so he insisted on coming to the royal study to help the emperor. Is it like this, Xiaoyang? Her words were like a life-saving straw that made Chu Xiaoyang's eyes light up. He immediately replied, That's right, this minister wants to help the emperor. After saying this, he looked at Empress Dowager Zhou with gratitude, thinking that the royal grandmother really cared about him. So it's like this. It's rare for King Ding Yuan to have this kind of heart. This one is very comforted. Mo Chuan's cold expression finally eased up a bit, allowing Chu Xiaoyang to let out a sigh of relief. King Ding Yuan, you came at the right time. This one and the ministers are currently discussing how to deal with the East Qin country's annual tribute. The ministers are still arguing, so this one wants to hear your opinion. Mo Chuan's eyes were as deep as 1,000 feet as he stared at Chu Xiaoyang's face, speaking in a calm voice. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned. What East Qin's annual tribute? It's time to pay the tribute again? He saw the serious expressions of Mo Chuan and the ministers, and his heart filled with doubt. It had only been a day since he went to court. Did something really happen in court? King Ding Yuan is really sick. He is sick to the point that he doesn't even know about this matter. There were already ministers on the side who couldn't help mocking him. If he is sick, then he should go home and rest. Wouldn't running into the palace in the night make him even more sick? Don't give the emperor any ideas at that time. The ones who will suffer will be our West Shu citizens. Another minister gave a cold snort. They were all loyal ministers of the West Shu country, even daring to speak to the emperor, adding in the fact that they were very dissatisfied with Chu Xiaoyang. Even in front of the emperor, they did not give him any face. Ding Yuan's face turned green, and then he of Ding as he of him. Ding Yuan's face of his of king, of all of him of. Shu of king of his face was of Ming. King Ding Yuan has entered the palace in the middle of the night, wanting to help this one. showing his loyalty and patriotism. Xiao Yang, come in and sit. Xiao Si, bring a chair for King Ding Yuan. How could Chu Xiao Yang be in the mood to discuss politics? But the current situation was already hard to get off. The emperor and the ministers were all staring at him. He suddenly felt like he had lifted a rock and smashed his own foot. Chapter 478. But how could he sit still? It was like there was a thorn in his butt. Thinking of Chen Ning missing and not knowing if she was dead or alive, his heart was filled with anxiety. Xiao Si, you silly thing. King Ding Yuan has a sick body. How could he sit in such a hard chair? Quickly bring a cushion over. Mo Chuan looked over from the corner of his eyes and saw Chu Xiao Yang's restless appearance. Yes, yes. Xiao Si suppressed his laughter and brought a cushion over. Many thanks for the emperor's understanding. Chu Xiao Yang squeezed out a smile and stood up to give his thanks. Mo Chuan looked at Empress Dowager Zhou. Mother, your son still has to discuss politics with the ministers, so I'll pay my respects to Mother another day. Mother, please take care. Empress Dowager Zhou nodded. Looking at her son's slightly green eyes, she felt a bit of pain. The emperor has to work hard for the country, so you have to pay attention to your body. This widow will return to the palace first. She slowly turned around, and her heart filled with sadness. If the emperor knew that his beloved girl had been sent out of the palace by her and had been kidnapped by someone else, with the emperor's temper, perhaps. Empress Dowager Zhou secretly gritted her teeth. She couldn't let the emperor know of this matter. She had to hide it for as long as possible. She slightly turned her head and looked at Chu Xiao Yang in the study with a look of warning in her eyes. Chu Xiao Yang just happened to meet her eyes. When they looked at each other, he immediately understood the Empress Dowager's meaning and gave a slight nod. The Empress Dowager did not want the emperor to know that Chun Ning was missing, and he did not want the emperor to know either. He secretly clenched his fists. He had to. He had to find Chun Ning before the emperor knew of this matter. He had to keep her by his side forever, not letting anyone look at her. Chu Xiao Yang never thought that this discussion would last for an entire night. Until the morning of the second day, the ministers were still arguing, each one filled with anger. Some wanted to fight, some wanted peace, some wanted to pay the tribute first, and some wanted to give the East Qin envoys a fierce blow. Chu Xiao Yang's mind was elsewhere. How could he be in the mood to listen to what they were discussing? After listening for a while, he finally understood what was going on. The East Qin envoys were asking for the tribute, and they proposed 3 competitions. If West Chu lost, they would double the tribute. When he heard this, he was instantly filled with anger. Emperor, please give this minister an army. This minister will immediately cut off the head of the East Qin envoys. He suddenly stood up and loudly said. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was stunned, and they looked at him in unison. The ministers all looked down on him. Seeing him curled up in his chair, not making a single sound, facing the East Qin country's aggressiveness, he was the respected King Ding Yuan, the emperor's nephew, yet he was like a turtle hiding in its shell, not letting out a single fart. He was truly too useless. But when they heard him say this, they couldn't help revealing a mocking smile. They couldn't help revealing a mocking laugh. If he could casually cut off the heads of the East Qin envoys, would the emperor need to gather his trusted ministers to discuss countermeasures and spend an entire night discussing it? It could be seen that this King Ding Yuan was an idiot king who only had courage but no brains. Chapter 479. When the ministers heard this, they all praised him. So the emperor has already made arrangements, actually sending King Jing in. He truly has great foresight. We can't even compare. The emperor has thought far ahead. This old minister admires you. Mo Chuan stood up and said, everyone has been tired all night, so there's no need for morning court today. Everyone can return to your palace to rest. Xiao Si, go and pass down the decree. This one will go to the Peaceful Life Palace to greet the Empress Dowager. Otherwise, the Empress Dowager will be worried. After he finished arranging everything, he walked out of the royal study. There was already a sedan waiting outside. The ministers all left. Chu Xiaoyang waited for the conference to end with great difficulty. He quickly stepped out of the royal study and rushed ahead of everyone else. Who would have thought that when the emperor sat in the sedan, he would turn around and see him? He waved at him and said, "Xiaoyang, are you also going to the peaceful life palace to greet the Empress Dowager? That's perfect. Come with this one." Chu Xiaoyang felt like he had eaten a bitter gourd, not knowing what to say. He could only follow the emperor's sedan and head to the peaceful life palace. His heart felt like it was being placed in a pot of oil. This kind of feeling, it really made his heart itch. Finally arriving at the peaceful life palace, Chu Xiaoyang wanted to greet Empress Dowager Zhou as soon as possible. He wanted to return to his palace as soon as possible and send people to find Chun Ning's whereabouts. Who would have thought that Su Jin would come out and tell the two of them that Empress Dowager Zhou had slept too late last night and had not woken up yet? Emperor, since the Empress Dowager has not woken up yet, this minister will return first. I will greet the Empress Dowager another day. Chu Xiaoyang quickly said this and turned to leave. Wait, Xiaoyang, it's rare for you to come to the peaceful life palace. How could you be willing to leave so quickly? Mo Chuan took a step forward and grabbed Chu Xiaoyang's wrist, looking at him with a faint smile. Chu Xiaoyang's heart turned cold, and he said in a deep voice, "What does the emperor mean? Please forgive this minister for not understanding." "You don't understand?" Mo Chuan raised his brows and softly said, "Does King Ding Yuan not want to see the princess?" This one remembers that during the spring banquet, Xiaoyang apologized to the princess in front of everyone. How could he have forgotten the princess so quickly? Coming to the peaceful life palace and not seeing the princess. If the princess knew, wouldn't she be disappointed in you? Chu Xiaoyang was stunned, but then he understood. The emperor really did not know. He thought that Chun Ning was still in the peaceful life palace, so when the meeting ended, he did not even sleep and rushed over to the peaceful life palace. Humph! It sounded nice that he was greeting the Empress Dowager, but he had bad intentions. He wanted to see the woman that belonged to him, Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly felt his head filled with rage. "Your Majesty, you are truly considerate and concerned about this subject's family matters. This subject is very grateful. Ning, is this minister's princess. No matter if her heart is cold towards this minister, she will always be this minister's woman. If this minister wants her to live, she will live. If this minister wants her to die, she will die. There is no need for the emperor to fight for her. What? Could it be that your Majesty has compassion for this subject princess and wants to have tender and protective feelings for the fairer sex?" Xiao Chun, king. Ever since that day at the spring banquet, he had noticed that there was something wrong with the way the emperor looked at her. Later, his suspicions were confirmed. It turned out that the emperor had taken a fancy to his princess, his woman. He was thinking of every possible way to take her away from him. If this could be tolerated, what couldn't? Chapter 480. Contrary to Chu Xiaoyang's expectations, not only was the emperor not angry, he even spoke to him in a pleasant voice. After saying this, Mo Chuan stood in the corridor and calmly admired the blooming flowers in the yard. Chu Xiaoyang felt like he had punched the air and couldn't feel anything for a while. He waved his sleeves and walked out 2 steps. Then he walked back and stood in the corridor. He couldn't leave. He suddenly remembered that Empress Dowager Zhou had sent people to investigate the whereabouts of the royal guard, so he had to find Empress Dowager Zhou and ask her about it. Only with the emperor here, it was just too much of an eyesore. In front of the emperor, how could he open his mouth? No, he had to send the emperor away. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly took 2 steps forward and stood by Mo Chuan's side. "Emperor, you came to the peaceful life palace. Was it really just to pay respects to the Empress Dowager?" He suddenly spoke in a provocative voice that was no longer respectful. Mo Chuan slowly turned to look at him and softly said, "Otherwise." Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh. He lowered his voice and said in a voice that only the two of them could hear, "Since the emperor dares to do it, why don't you dare admit it?" Don't you want to see her? What her? Mo Chuan's expression did not change. The Emperor already knows the answer. You like her, don't you? Your Majesty, are you regretting it now? Why did you personally betroth her to me? Why didn't you include her in the harem? If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the beginning? If you want her now, it's too late. This minister is not afraid to tell the Emperor that she will be my Chu Xiaoyang's princess for a lifetime, and this minister will never give her freedom. Chu Xiaoyang gave a low, evil laugh that was like an owl's. He knew what words could hurt people the most. It was like a knife stabbing into the heart of the high and mighty emperor in front of him. He was almost filled with joy as he watched that sharp knife stab into the other side's heart. When it was pulled out, it was covered in blood. As expected, when he finished speaking, he saw Mo Chuan's expression change. Because of regret and because of pain, that perfect face began to distort. Although it was only for a moment, Chu Xiaoyang did not ignore it. Mo Chuan controlled the urge to slap Chu Xiaoyang to death with a palm. His cold eyes fell onto his face as he said word for word, "This one is the emperor. This one can give a decree for you to separate." Hee. Chu Xiaoyang gave a laugh that was filled with confidence. Hee. As long as this minister doesn't agree, so what? As long as the emperor dares to give a decree, this minister will dare to announce to the world that it is you, the emperor, who has taken a fancy to this minister's princess. It is you who want to steal this minister's wife. At that time, this official would like to see if your Majesty can still sit firmly on the throne. Your Majesty, you wouldn't give up the throne for a woman, right? Mo Chu Xiao, Mo, choose words, and Mo's Chen's Mo. King to this too, Chu Xiao Chuano, Chunmo, Chen's Mo to Mo, Chuno, to Chuan Mo, to say, Chan Kama Mo, Mo. Chuan. Also, if you kill this minister, how will you stop the mouths of the people of the world? Chu Xiaoyang revealed an evil and wild smile. He was sure that the emperor would not kill him because he was the previous emperor's blood-related son. This throne should have been his. Chu Xiaoyang. Mo Chuan spat out these 3 words through gritted teeth. Each word was filled with a bone-chilling cold. Chu Xiaoyang knew that he had angered this fierce tiger, but he did not care. Chapter 481. Mo Chuan suddenly turned around and left with large steps. He was afraid that if he stayed here any longer, he really wouldn't be able to resist taking Chu Xiaoyang's life. Seeing the emperor's back disappear from the palace gates, Chu Xiaoyang finally let out a long sigh of relief. Emperor, your highness, the Empress Dowager has woken up and is summoning you two in. Your highness, why is it only you? Where's the emperor? Su Jin came out of Empress Dowager Zhou's room. Seeing that Chu Xiaoyang was the only one standing in the corridor, she revealed a surprised expression. The emperor suddenly remembered that he had some matters to take care of, so he rushed back to the royal study. Chu Xiaoyang lied without changing his expression. Su Jin was not surprised and nodded. Your Highness, please come in. Empress Dowager Zhou had just woken up. Her face was not good and her eyes were bloodshot. It was clear that she did not sleep well last night. Royal Grandmother, did you catch the royal guard? Seeing Empress Dowager Zhou, Chu Xiaoyang impatiently asked. I've caught him. Empress Dowager Zhou slowly nodded. Royal Grandmother, did you find Ning? Chu Xiaoyang was filled with joy. No. Empress Dowager Zhou shook her head. There was not much excitement on her face as she gave a sigh. She clapped her hands and said, Su Jin, call someone to bring the guard in. Chu Xiaoyang's heart was filled with doubt. He turned to look outside the door. Xiaoyang, if you have anything to say, ask them yourself. Empress Dowager Zhou rubbed her forehead in exhaustion, feeling very upset. Not long after, 2 guards brought in a 20-year-old man. The man fell to the ground as soon as he entered the room, crying out that he was wronged. I'm wronged, Empress Dowager. This servant really doesn't know anything. I asked the Empress Dowager to investigate. Chu Xiaoyang stared at the man. He saw that the man was wearing a moon-white robe. He had a proper appearance and a tall and sturdy figure, looking like someone who practiced martial arts. He took a step forward and grabbed the man's collar. His eyes were filled with flames as he angrily said, "Bastard, hand over this king's princess. If she's missing a single hair, this king will chop you into dog meat sauce." The man trembled and said with a crying face, "Please forgive me, your highness. This servant is truly wronged. This servant has never seen the princess consort before." Before he could finish, Chu Xiaoyang slapped him in the face, causing the corner of his mouth to bleed. "If you don't tell the truth, this servant will immediately take your life." The guard kept kowtowing. "Your highness, this lowly one does not dare lie, and I do not dare lie to the Empress Dowager and your highness. This lowly one was indeed on duty yesterday, and the Empress Dowager sent this lowly one to escort the princess consort back to her palace. This lowly one brought the carriage to the palace, but who would have thought that the back of my head would suddenly receive a heavy blow? This lowly one's eyes turned black, and I fainted. When I woke up, this lowly one found that my clothes were gone, and I was thrown into a corner. This lowly one felt this was strange, but I was suddenly caught by the guards and brought to the Empress Dowager. Empress Dowager, your highness, this servant is telling the truth, not a single lie. This servant dares to use the lives of my family to swear. To his words, this servant will say." He cried as he said. Chu Xiaoyang's face turned livid. He raised his right hand and gathered his energy into his palm, slowly pressing it down. "You won't shed tears until you see the coffin," he said coldly, killing intent bursting out his eyes. Chapter 482. Xiaoyang, spare him. He really isn't lying. Empress Dowager Zhou had been silent the entire time, but she suddenly spoke up at this time. This widow has sent people to investigate and found that he had just married a month ago, marrying his childhood sweetheart cousin sister. The two of them have a very good relationship, so he wouldn't have any ill intentions towards Ning Er. Moreover, this widow has also found a doctor to examine his injuries and found that the back of his head was indeed injured by someone, so what he said is true. Someone knocked him out, took off his guard uniform, and disguised himself as a guard to drive away the carriage. It was also this person who kidnapped Ning Er. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly looked up and looked at Empress Dowager Zhou, royal grandmother. In the royal palace, there's someone who can knock out a guard without anyone noticing. This kind of daring thing, there aren't many people who can do it. Empress Dowager Zhou slowly nodded, but she did not say a word. She looked down at the jade scepter beside her and picked it up. She gently rubbed it in her hand. Su Jin opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but hesitating. She seemed to have thought of something, but when she looked at Chu Xiaoyang, she swallowed the words she wanted to say. Royal grandmother, Xiaoyang knows who this person is. Chu Xiaoyang let go of the guard and slowly stood up. His eyes were dark, and there was a faint glow of light flashing in them. He turned around and walked out with large steps, not looking back at all. Empress Dowager Zhou watched his departing figure, remaining silent the entire time. Empress Dowager, why didn't you stop His Highness? He must have gone to find the Emperor. Su Jin had an anxious expression. The Emperor? No, he is not looking for the Emperor. Empress Dowager Zhou slowly said word for word. Then, Su Jin was filled with doubt. Yes, eldest princess. After Empress Dowager Zhou said this, she leaned back on the bed and closed her eyes. She gave a sigh. These children, not a single one of them makes this widow worry. Forget it. This widow doesn't care anymore. Let them do whatever they want. Even if they poke a hole in the sky, the Emperor will take it. Su Jin took in a cold breath, and her eyes opened wide. She did not dare believe the information Empress Dowager Zhou had just revealed. How could this matter be related to eldest princess and Lo? Could it be that the Dingyuan princess had really been kidnapped by the eldest princess? Asterisk Su Jin's guess was not wrong. Chen Ning had been taken away by the eldest princess. At that time, she retreated to the wall of the carriage and had nowhere to retreat. She quietly pulled out the hairpin from her hair and held it tightly in her hand. She stared at the carriage driver, who looked like a guard. As long as the other party took another step forward, she would not hesitate to attack, and kill him in one strike. Who are you? What do you want? There are gold pearls and treasures here. If you want them, you can take them all. Facing the guard's step-by-step approach, Chun Ning was surprisingly calm. Her eyes were like a cat's in the dark as they shined with a cold light. Chen saying she's hard, ding ding, she ting ming, she, Chen, she, dowager, she, and she, and said, she, dower, I. As he said this, he reached out a large black palm to grab Chen Ning. Chen Ning suddenly made a move. She grabbed the guard's wrist and forcefully pulled him in her chest. At the same time, her right foot flew out and kicked at the guard's lower body. This move was one of the most powerful killing moves for women in the modern world. She was very familiar with it, and this move was very clean, taking advantage of the enemy being unprepared. Chapter 483. However, she did not expect that the guard martial arts to be so good that he actually followed her move and approached her side. Naturally, her kick landed on empty air. Chun Ning gritted her teeth, and the hairpin in her hand stabbed at the guard's eyes without any hesitation. Hey, you little girl, you're really ruthless. The guard was shocked and dodged to the side. At the same time, his right hand turned and firmly grabbed her wrist. With a bit more force, Chun Ning felt her wrist go numb. She couldn't hold the hairpin in her hand any longer, and it fell to the ground. Without any hesitation, she opened her mouth and bit the guard's ear. Hey, are you crazy? That guard hurriedly stretched out his finger and sealed her acupoint. Chun Ning couldn't move at all, but her face was as cold as ice. She suddenly opened her mouth and spat at the guard. The two of them were very close, and this spit almost landed on the guard's face. It was a good thing he reacted in time and dodged it. He couldn't help blurting out, Ninger, it's me. That person's voice suddenly changed. It went from rough to clear, and it was very familiar. Chun Ning was stunned as she looked at the guard with wide eyes. There were no lights in the carriage, and she couldn't see the guard's appearance, but that voice seemed to belong to the eldest princess. You are the eldest princess? It's me. The guard took off his hat and threw it on the ground. Then he took off his guard uniform and rolled it into a bag. He threw it out of the carriage and then took out a match from his chest. He waved it in the wind, and a faint yellow light illuminated the small corner of the carriage. She revealed a smile at Chun Ning. Her brows were dancing as she said with a smile, Ninger, you didn't think it would be this princess, right? Don't be angry. This princess was just joking with you. I never thought that you would be like a wild cat scratching and scratching. If I didn't seal your acupuncture point, this princess really wouldn't be able to do anything to you. She then said, Ning, are you angry? How could Chun Ning care about being angry? She asked in a strange voice, Eldest princess, why are you here? Why are you disguised as a cart driver? That's right, this princess was entrusted by someone to rob you. You could just treat this princess as a real bandit. The eldest princess looked up with a smile. She suddenly reached out with a finger and sealed her sleeping acupuncture point. Chun Ning felt her vision go black, and she fell into a daze, not knowing what happened. She felt that she had slept for a very, very long time. In her dream, there were several figures coming one after another, but she could not see their faces clearly. She felt like someone was gently stroking her hair and saying something in her ear. The voice was low and she couldn't hear clearly. In her daze, she heard someone sobbing beside her. She couldn't fall asleep because of the noise. She forced her eyes open and saw a young girl lying in front of her bed, crying and whimpering. She looked very sad. The girl's face was buried in her clothes, so she couldn't see her appearance. They could only see that her black hair was combed into two buns, looking like Xiao Ru. Xiao Ru? She tried calling out, thinking that she was still in a dream. She raised her hand to touch the girl's hair. It was soft and smooth. It didn't seem like she was in a dream. The young girl raised her head. She had a round face and red eyes. Tears still fell from her eyes. It was Xiao Ru. Chapter 484. It really was Xiao Ru. Chun Ning suddenly felt a sense of reality. She rubbed Xiao Ru's head and thought that she had returned to the King Ding Yuan Palace. Xiaoru, don't cry, don't cry. Tell me, where are we? She found herself lying on a spacious bed, her body covered with a red silk embroidered quilt. It was soft and warm. Looking around, the room was spacious and bright. Two vermilion carved wooden windows were half open. The sun was shining brightly outside the window, and there was a faint fragrance of flowers blowing into the room along with the breeze. The furnishings in the room were all very expensive, simple, and not complicated. She knew that this was not the flowing cloud pavilion. Xiaoru looked up and forcefully sniffed. Then she said in a muffled voice, "This is the eldest princess palace." Eldest princess palace? Chen Ning knit her brows and suddenly thought of what happened before she fell asleep. Could it be that the eldest princess had brought her to her palace? But why? Xiaoru, why are you here? Didn't Chu Xiaoyang? She opened her mouth. Thinking of that bloody finger, she suddenly gave a shiver. She grabbed Xiaoru's right hand and did not dare look at her pinky finger. Her eyes were already red, and through the blurry tears, she found that Xiaoru's right hand was still intact. Not a single one was missing. She was stunned. Then she grabbed Xiaoru's left hand and wiped her tears. She could clearly see that Xiaoru's left hand was still intact. Chen Ning was instantly stunned. Ah, His Highness really is a bad person. He locked me up in a dark dungeon and tied me to a pillar. He said that if young Miss doesn't return to the palace for a day, he won't give me anything to eat or drink. He said that he would starve me to death and let me die of thirst. He's really bad. When Xiaoru heard Chu Xiaoyang's name, her little face turned red and she gritted her teeth in anger. He only locked you up, he didn't. Chen Ning once again checked Xiaoru's hands. Although all 10 fingers were still there, she still felt her heart jump. A thought suddenly flashed through her mind, and she took in a cold breath. Chu Xiaoyang wouldn't have cut off Xiaoru's toes, right? Xiaoru, take off your shoes, she suddenly said. Xiaoru was stunned. Young miss, what are you saying? I told you to take off your shoes. Quickly. Although Xiaoru did not understand, she still obediently took off her shoes, revealing a pair of white and tender feet. She saw that Chen Ning was staring at her feet, and her face turned red. She hid her feet behind her and shyly said, Young miss, this servant's feet are ugly. They don't look good. Not missing. The finger that Chu Xiaoyang sent over was not Xiaoru's. Bastard, he actually used such a despicable and shameless method to force her to leave the palace and return to her residence. Chen Ning gritted her teeth. Xiaoru, tell me, other than tying you up, what else did that bastard Chu Xiaoyang do to you? Does it hurt? Ru Xiao asked. Ru, Ning, of Xiao, Ru of Ning of. Then how did you come to the eldest princess palace? Chen Ning asked. Last night, the eldest princess personally brought people to save me from the dungeon. She said that she would bring me to see you, and then I really did see young miss. The eldest princess did not lie to me. She really is a good person. Chapter 485. But then she pursed her lips and threw herself into Chen Ning's embrace. Young miss, why did you leave for so long? This servant thought that you didn't want Xiaoru anymore. Wu, have you been living well in the palace? Are you used to the food and living? Did the Empress Dowager make it hard for you? Have you ever thought about Xiaoru? This servant has been thinking about you every day. Young miss, promise this servant that no matter where you go in the future, you won't leave this servant behind. All right? She tightly hugged Chen Ning, not letting go no matter what. Chen Ning's heart felt warm. She stroked Xiaoru's head and said with a faint smile, All right, I promise you. I can give up on anyone, but I won't give up on my precious little girl, Xiaoru. Really? Xiaoru's tears turned into a smile. Looking up from her embrace, her face was still covered in sparkling tears. Chen Ning smiled as she wiped her tears and asked, Is the eldest princess in the palace? I want to go thank the eldest princess. Xiaoru slapped her forehead and shouted, The eldest princess ordered for the young miss to report to her as soon as she wakes up. This servant actually forgot. Young miss, please wait a bit. This servant will go report to the eldest princess." She quickly ran out in embarrassment, but was stopped by Chun Ning. "Wait a bit. I'll go with you to see the eldest princess." She stood up, and Xiao Ru went to get some water to wash her face. Chun Ning had not finished washing up when several maids came in from outside. They were holding trays in their hands with clothes and jewelry on them. There were also a few people holding food boxes in their hands, bowing down when they saw Chun Ning. "Greetings, princess. This servant has come under the orders of the eldest princess to serve the princess consort." The maids placed the trays on the table and began to help Chun Ning dress up. When she finished dressing up, they opened the food boxes and took out the food inside. There was jade rice porridge, embroidered shrimp balls, and pine nut fish and rice soup. Each dish was made with care, and the fragrance filled the air. Smelling this fragrance, Chun Ning felt her stomach rumble. Xiao Ru watched from the side and also swallowed a mouthful of saliva. "Xiao Ru, let's eat together." Chun Ning pulled Xiao Ru to sit next to her. The two of them were not polite as they finished all the dishes. After eating, Chun Ning asked the maids where the eldest princess was. Then she brought Xiao Ru to the main hall, preparing to personally thank the eldest princess. She was filled with gratitude towards the eldest princess. If it wasn't for the eldest princess bringing her here last night, she would have already fallen into Chu Xiaoyang's clutches. What she was most grateful to was that not only did the eldest princess save her, she had also saved Xiao Ru. A maid led the way in front. The eldest princess's mansion was decorated, like her personality, very forthright. There were no pavilions or small bridges in the large courtyard, but rather a large training field with 18 types of weapons placed inside. After passing through the training field, they arrived at the main hall. Before they reached the door, they suddenly heard the crisp sound of porcelain shattering coming from inside. Xiao Xiaoning following Xiao Xiaoning. Xiao Xiaoning thing suddenly stopped. Chun Ning's footsteps suddenly stopped, and she couldn't help coming to a stop. Xiao Ru noticed that Chun Ning's expression had changed. She was originally smiling, but her smile suddenly disappeared. Her brows were filled with anger as she bit her lips. Xiao Ru noticed that Chun Ning's expression had changed. She was originally smiling, but her smile suddenly disappeared. Her brows were filled with anger as she bit her lips. "He's here." Chun Ning slowly spat out these 3 words. Chapter 486. His Highness. Why is he here? "Young miss, let's quickly go back. We can't let His Highness see you. Otherwise he will lock you up in a dark dungeon. It's too scary." Xiao Ru grabbed Chun Ning's sleeves and moved back. "Young miss, you can't even see your own fingers." Chun Ning stood in the same place without moving. Her cold eyes revealed a determined glow. "No, I'm not leaving. Since he can find me here, he must have come prepared. Hide? How long can I hide?" She straightened her back and walked forward, walking all the way to the main hall. In the main hall, the eldest princess and Chu Xiaoyang were angrily staring at each other. Chu Xiaoyang had just left the palace when he received news from the palace's secret guards. The eldest princess had taken advantage of him not being in the palace to break into the palace and take away a maid named Xiao Ru from the dungeon. This news made him even more certain that Chun Ning had been taken away by the eldest princess. So he went straight to the eldest princess' palace on a horse, asking the eldest princess for her. He did not sleep at all. Anxiety, worry, and anger were all mixed together, making him want to kill someone. When he arrived in front of the eldest princess' palace, he aggressively charged in. The eldest princess was in the practice field, but she rushed out after hearing the news with a cold expression. "Xiaoyang, the older you get, the more you don't understand the rules. This is my eldest princess' palace. You actually dare to barge in." Chu Xiaoyang clenched his fists and his face turned livid. He stared at her and said, "Royal aunt, where's Ning-er?" The eldest princess raised her brows and pretended not to know. "What Ning-er? Are you looking for your princess? Isn't she in the Empress Dowager's palace? How did you find this princess palace?" "Royal aunt, an honest person doesn't do underhanded things. Since you dare do it, Why don't you dare accept it? Chu Xiaoyang said in a cold voice. Xiaoyang, is this the attitude you should have when talking to your elders? The eldest princess' face instantly sunk. You took away this king's princess. In your heart, do you still think of this king as your nephew? Chu Xiaoyang countered with a cold voice. How dare you? The eldest princess was enraged. With a wave of her hand, the blue and white teapot on the table fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. Chu Xiaoyang coldly stood there. His eyes were gloomy as he coldly said, Royal aunt, Ninger must be in your palace. Please give her to this king. If this princess says she's not, then she's not. Your princess is gone, so she isn't. Your princess is gone. Why are you running to this princess? The eldest princess' words came to an abrupt stop. She looked straight at the entrance of the main hall with her eyes wide open and her mouth forming a circle. Chu, Chu Xiao Chu. Chu 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 Xiao Chu looked over. Chu Ning. Chu. Chu, Chu Chu King King, single quote Ning, and Chu Chu Ning Chu. Chu Chu, Chu was Chu 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 Chu. TC. Chu. Xiao. Ning. Ning. You. Chu Xiaoyang's face was filled with shock and joy. His heart was so excited that it almost jumped out of his chest. His eyes were glued to Chen Ning, not blinking at all. She was still the same as he remembered. Fresh and refined, graceful, just like a beautiful cloud. As long as she appeared, she would attract his eyes. Ning, this king has come to pick you up. Chapter 487. He walked forward and stopped when he was 3 feet away from Chen Ning. His eyes lit up as he looked at her with a passionate gaze. There was no girl that could not be moved by his intoxicating gaze. Even Xiao Ru hated him to the point that her teeth itched, but when she saw his gaze, she couldn't help cursing him back down. Chen Ning ignored Chu Xiaoyang's aggressive gaze. She slowly walked into the hall and bowed down to the eldest princess. Eldest princess, Ning has given you quite a bit of trouble. Ning is filled with gratitude for your kindness towards Ning and will always remember it. Ning stand up. You don't need to be this polite with this princess. The eldest princess pulled her hand and stood up. Her brows slightly knit as she complained. Why did you come out? It's all because this princess didn't have time to send someone to tell you that this bastard brat had come. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes followed Chen Ning, not willing to leave her for even a second. Although he saw that she did not even glance at him, he was not angry. When he saw her, he thought of himself in the carriage. He wanted to make her lose her mind and almost rape her. For a girl with such a strong personality, how could she not hate him to the bone? The colder she was, the more she ignored him, the more he loved her to the bone. He was not angry at her, but that did not mean he was not angry at the eldest princess. Royal aunt, didn't you just say that Ninger is not with you? He straightened his back and coldly looked at the eldest princess. The eldest princess' face turned slightly red. Then her phoenix eyes stared at him, and she argued. This princess misses Ninger, so I invited Ninger to this princess palace for a few days. So what? Does a brat like you have any objections? Royal aunt's way of inviting guests is quite strange. If you miss Ning, you can openly invite her to your nephew's palace. Why do you need to do this kind of thing? Royal aunt, isn't this losing the style of the eldest princess? Chu Xiaoyang coldly mocked. This princess can invite guests however she wants. Does she need a little brat like you to teach this princess a lesson? This princess will tell you now. This princess likes Ning, and wants her to stay here for a few days. But this princess does not welcome you. You can leave. In a few days, this princess will send someone to send Ning back. The eldest princess was not polite to Chu Xiaoyang at all, directly sending him away. Chen Ning couldn't help feeling this strange. During the palace's spring banquet, after Chu Xiaoyang's act of kneeling in front of everyone, the eldest princess' attitude towards Chu Xiaoyang had completely changed. She simply wished she could become Chu Xiaoyang's lobbyist, trying to make Chu Xiaoyang and her reconcile. But in just a few short days, the eldest princess seemed to have changed into a different person. She was cold to Chu Xiao Yang and was filled with anger, but she was wholeheartedly helping him. Could it be that the eldest princess knew of what happened in the carriage? It had to be like this. The eldest princess had a clear understanding of love and hate, so she must have known about Chu Xiao Yang's actions. That's why she hated and hated him. But this must be the case. The eldest princess was very clear on what she liked and hated, so she must have known of Chu Xiao Yang's actions. That's why she hated and hated him. But this matter was very secretive and not many people knew about it. So how did the eldest princess know about it? She said she was entrusted by someone. Entrusted by who? Could it be Mo Chuan? Chapter 488. Chu Xiao Yang acted like he did not hear the eldest princess' words. He looked at Chen Ning with a faint smile. Ning do you like living here? If you like it, then you can stay for a few more days. His words were out of the eldest princess and Chen Ning's expectations. The eldest princess did not even have time to speak before she heard Chu Xiao Yang continue to say, "You can stay however long you like, as long as you're happy. While you're here, this king will accompany you every day. Whatever you like to do, this king will do with you." His eyes were filled with love, but Chen Ning felt a chill run down her spine. She turned her face away and did not look at him at all. The eldest princess' face fell, and she angrily said, "Stinky brat, do you not understand what this princess is saying? This princess does not welcome you. Scram from this princess place right now." Chu Xiao Yang said with a faint smile, "Royal aunt, your nephew hasn't asked aunt for martial arts in a long time. I wonder if aunt is willing to teach her nephew a few moves today." He was still smiling the entire time. It seemed like the angrier the eldest princess was, the better his mood was. "Stinky brat, this princess sees that you're asking for a beating. All right, this princess will properly teach you a lesson today." The eldest princess was filled with anger. She glared at Chu Xiao Yang and shouted, "Come, let's go to the martial arts field." "All right." Chu Xiao Yang waved his right hand and took off the jade belt around his waist. He took off his robe and revealed a deep purple robe. His long eyebrows reached his temples, and his phoenix eyes glanced over at Chen Ning. His lips curled into a smile that was like a spring breeze. "Ning, guess who will win in the fight between this king and royal aunt?" Chen Ning really wanted to slap the smile off his face. After doing that kind of thing, he could still smile at her like nothing had happened. It was as bright as a spring flower, and he could still speak in a low voice. What kind of man was he? "Chu Xiao Yang, no matter what you say or do, I will definitely separate from you. I will definitely not return to the King Ding Yuan Palace. Tell me, what do I have to do for you to agree to the separation?" She did not like going around in circles with him, and she did not want to face his smiling face. There was a faint trace of anger in her eyes. "Separate? Why does this king want to separate from you?" The smile on Chu Xiao Yang's face did not disappear, but his heart felt a sharp pain, like it was being twisted by an invisible hand. He stared at her without blinking. Her face was as white as snow, and her eyes were sparkling. He loved her eyes the most. From the first time he saw them, he had never forgotten them. She wanted him to let her go? Impossible. She clearly liked him. She was the one who insisted on marrying him. Even though he had mistaken her for someone else and made her so upset, she still had him in her heart. She would not have a change of heart this easily. "Ning, this king has indeed done many sad things in the past, but it was all because of that cheap servant Chun Bai Yun and her wet nurse. This king has already knelt down in front of everyone, and you have said that you will forgive everything this king has done. Why do you still insist on separating from this king? This king is completely devoted to you. I only want to be good to you. I have never thought of harming you. If you are worried that I will be unfaithful in the future, this king is willing to swear in front of royal aunt that from now on, I, Chu Xiao Yang, will only take you as my wife. If I marry someone else, I, Chu Xiao Yang, will not be able to recover." He raised his right hand with a serious expression, without a trace of smile on his face. Chapter 489. How could you make such a heavy oath? You, the eldest princess, could not continue. She had a stomach full of resentment towards Chu Xiaoyang, but her heart softened at this moment, and she couldn't bear to scold him. Chen Ning was already immune to Chu Xiaoyang's words. Even if he said it 10 times better, it would not move her heart. Not to mention that she came from a modern era, so she scoffed at something as simple as swearing. Chu Xiaoyang, do you think you can keep the oath you made? You also made an oath to Chun Baiyun, saying that you would always treat her well, but what about now? Aren't you going to fall out with her and be heartless with her? You don't even want the child in her belly. What makes you think I believe in your oath? Her words stabbed at Chu Xiaoyang's sore spot. Chu Xiaoyang's face instantly sunk as anger filled his heart. He clenched his fist and suppressed his anger as he said in a cold voice, "That cheap servant Chun Baiyun brought this upon herself. Who told her to deceive this king? This king thought that the person who saved me 8 years ago was her, so I swore to treat her well. This king did not go back on his words. This king just recognized the wrong person. The person this king wants to treat well is you, not her. Ninger, you can blame me for being blind, but you can't deny my sincerity towards you. Do you want this king to take out my heart for you to see?" The more he spoke, the more excited he became. The muscles on his face twisted, and his right hand suddenly grabbed his clothes. With a forceful rip, he revealed a muscular chest. "Xiaoyang, what are you doing?" Although the eldest princess was his elder, she was still a young, unmarried girl. Suddenly seeing the man's exposed skin, she couldn't help blushing and turning her face away. "Ninger, as long as you say a single word, I'll take out my heart for you to see." Chu Xiaoyang stared right at Chen Ning. His eyes revealed a determined glow, and his lips revealed a faint smile. Chen Ning's heart suddenly felt pain, like there was something pulling at it. She raised her hand to cover her chest and felt her heart beating faster than before. She felt her heart beating faster and faster than before. She looked into his eyes and saw the determination in them. She knew that he was serious. He really wanted to dig out his heart for her to see. A wave of sourness assaulted her heart, causing her heart to ache and ache. Her eyes became hot, and she actually felt like crying. Impossible. She clearly didn't love him. The person she liked was Mo Chuan. How could she be moved by his words and eyes? Could it be that the original owner's unforgettable feelings for the man in front of her were affecting her? "Ninger, you still like me, don't you?" Chu Xiaoyang saw the faint tears in her eyes and was filled with excitement and joy. He couldn't help taking a step forward and tightly holding her hands. His palm had a thin layer of calluses, and his palm was burning hot. As soon as it touched her skin, she suddenly shivered, and her entire body began to tremble. It was this pair of hands that tore her clothes and forced her onto the carriage. The feeling of his fingers on her skin made her want to vomit in disgust. "Don't touch me." She forcefully tried to pull her hands back, but he suddenly placed her hands on his chest and looked at her without blinking. "Feel it and see how fast this heart is beating. It's beating for you. Can you feel it?" Chapter 490. No, it shouldn't be like this. She shouldn't have been moved by him. She shouldn't have believed the words he said. She bit her lips and wanted to suppress the waves that were surging in her heart, but her heart was beating faster and faster, beating at the same time as his. Why was it like this? She opened her eyes wide in shock. She wanted to avoid his eyes filled with tears, but it was like there was a magic in the depths of his eyes that firmly attracted her, making it impossible for her to move. This heart, if you don't want it one day, then this king won't want it either, he softly said. He suddenly revealed a sad smile at her, and his handsome face turned pale. Chen Ning's chest suddenly filled with pain that made it hard for her to breathe. Her body began to tremble, a trembling that she could not control at all. Her eyes turned black, and she began to waver. Her body went soft, and she fell down. "Ninger!" Chu Xiaoyang gave a shocked cry. He reached out his arms and caught her. She fell into his embrace. Her eyes were closed, and she had already fainted. "You bastard! What did you do to her? Let go of her!" The eldest princess was filled with anger. She suddenly sent a palm flying at Chu Xiaoyang's back. She had turned her face to the side, but the conversation between the two of them had clearly entered her ears. Hearing Chu Xiaoyang's sincere confession, her hard heart couldn't help softening again. She couldn't bear to interrupt him. The so-called prodigal son was more precious than gold. The reason why Xiaoyang did this to her was because of his deep love and love. There was even a trace of hope in her heart. Perhaps Ning would forgive him, and they would be able to get back together. That might not be a bad thing. She never thought that Chen Ning would suddenly faint. Summon the doctor. Quickly summon the doctor. Chu Xiaoyang shouted out as he tightly hugged her without letting go. The palm behind him was very strong, but he did not dodge at all. It was like he did not notice it at all. The eldest princess palm had just reached his back when it was suddenly pulled back. She suddenly stomped her foot and loudly ordered, "Someone, quickly enter the palace and summon the doctor." Chu Xiaoyang looked down at her in his embrace. Her long hair was jet black, her face was snow white, and her long eyelashes covered her bright and determined eyes. She seemed like she was asleep, but her brows were knit together. He picked her up and walked out with large steps. "Stop! Where are you taking her?" The eldest princess shot out in front of him, blocking his path. She is this king's princess, so of course this king will bring her back to his palace. Imperial aunt, you wouldn't interfere with your nephew's family matters, right? Chu Xiaoyang suddenly looked up, and his eyes were filled with rage. At this moment, he was like an angry lion that was about to bite someone. The eldest princess stared at him, but she didn't retreat at all. She was invited by this princess. This princess can't let you take her away like this. If you want to take her away, wait until she wakes up. If she's willing to leave with you, this princess will not force her to stay. But right now, you can't, she said in a sharp voice. All right, then this king will wait for her to wake up. This king believes that she will leave with this king. Chu Xiaoyang remembered that before Chen Ning fainted, her eyes were filled with deep love and pain. She had him in her heart. He was sure of that. Chapter 491. Give her to this princess. The eldest princess looked at him with a complicated expression. Her eyes fell onto the person in his arms, and she reached out to take her, but Chu Xiaoyang was not willing to let go. Where is her room? This king will take her there. Royal aunt, I don't dare bother you. His voice was filled with resentment. Come with me. The eldest princess had a cold expression as she looked at Chen Ning with worry. She walked to the back courtyard. When the three of them came out of the door, Xiao Ru saw Chen Ning in Chu Xiaoyang's arms and cried out in shock, "Young miss! Bad Highness, let go of my young miss!" She charged forward. Chu Xiaoyang waved his sleeve, and a hidden force pushed her far away. He took large steps as he carried Chen Ning, charging into the back courtyard. The doctor quickly arrived. The one who came was the most experienced doctor in the yard. He had a white beard, and there was a little eunuch carrying a medicine box behind him. The old doctor sat in front of the bed to take Chen Ning's pulse. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes looked over the little eunuch's face, and he gave a cold snort. The eldest princess did not notice. She just stared at Chen Ning with an anxious expression. "Dr. Zhang, what kind of illness does Ning have? Why did she suddenly faint?" Finally waiting for the old doctor to take her pulse, she immediately asked in an impatient voice. Reporting to the eldest princess, the princess consort is fine. She was just too excited and her blood rushed to her head, so she fainted. As long as she rests for a bit, she will wake up. Whoa, only. After the old doctor said this, he suddenly knit his brows. He looked like he wanted to say something, but stopped himself. Only what? Quickly say it. The eldest princess' heart that had just calmed down came back as she urged him. This old man is just guessing from her pulse. The princess consort's heart pulse is very chaotic, as if her heart has been greatly shaken and stimulated. She will feel pain in her chest after she wakes up, so this old man will prescribe a medicine that will help the princess consort calm her heart. The old doctor spoke in a very cautious manner, then quickly prescribed the medicine. When Chu Xiaoyang heard this, he immediately said in an urgent voice. The old doctor raised his blurred old eyes and looked over Chu Xiaoyang without leaving a trace. He turned to the eldest princess and said, "When the princess consort wakes up, remember not to make her excited again. Otherwise, she will faint again. If the princess consort is stimulated again, it will be harmful to her body. Moreover, other than the princess consort heart pulse being unstable, she seems to have been frightened. She seems to be afraid of something. She seems to be afraid of something. She must be afraid of something." When the eldest princess heard this, she couldn't help glaring at Chu Xiaoyang and saying, "Many thanks, Dr. Zhang. Please write the prescription immediately." Chu Xiaoyang's face turned livid, and his cold eyes stared at the back of the old doctor writing the prescription. He really wanted to slap the doctor's teeth out. This old thing, what's something she shooed of something? Consort of something. What he was implying was that he had scared Ning Er to the point of fainting, and that he was slandering him. Ning Er had fainted from excitement after hearing his passionate confession. When she woke up, he would definitely not use such an intense method to express his deep feelings in the depths of his heart. He wanted to slowly, bit by bit, tell her just how much he cared about her. His heart was filled with her figure. Chapter 492. Since she couldn't stand the intense stimulation, he would learn to be gentle with her. He wanted to remove the shadow of that man in her heart, not leaving a single trace behind. Ning, when you wake up, this king will not speak loudly to you or scare you anymore. When I said that I would dig out my heart for you to see, you must be scared and anxious, right? That's why you couldn't take it and fainted, right? Chu Xiaoyang revealed a gentle smile. He sat on the bed and held her hand, placing it on his chest, letting her feel his strong heartbeat. Although she was unconscious and couldn't hear what he said, his voice was as gentle as a slowly flowing spring. The eldest princess couldn't help shaking the goosebumps on her body. She looked at Chu Xiaoyang like she was looking at a stranger. How was this the cold-faced King Ding Yuan she knew? The words he said really made people feel numb hearing it, but which woman didn't like hearing it? When you saw the finger I sent into the palace, you must have been scared, right? Actually, this king did not cut off that girl's finger. She is the maid by your side and your person, so this king will not hurt her. I just wanted to scare you and make you quickly return to this king's side. If it wasn't for someone taking you away, you wouldn't have become like this. After he said this, he raised his head and looked at the eldest princess with a hateful gaze. The eldest princess said with a cold expression, "The doctor said that Ning can't be stimulated anymore. Chu Xiaoyang, you should quickly leave, otherwise Ning will faint again when she wakes up." Humph, that doctor is speaking nonsense. Royal aunt even believes him? Ning likes me. Did you see how excited she was just now? When she wakes up, the first person she wants to see will be me. Chu Xiaoyang confidently gripped her hand. He did not wait for the eldest princess to speak before coldly looking at the little eunuch who was carrying the medicine box and not saying a word. He said in a cold voice, "Xiao Si, do you think that with your head down, this king won't recognize you? Go back and tell your master that this king doesn't need anyone else to care about his woman. Let him worry about his own matters." The little eunuch's body trembled, and he slowly raised his head, revealing a delicate face and a pair of dark and lively eyes. He calmly bowed to Chu Xiaoyang. "This servant will only listen to the emperor's orders. Your Highness' words. I ask your Highness to personally tell the emperor." Chu Xiaoyang gave a snort. "This king will personally tell the emperor that this king is praising you too much. You are just a dog raised by your master that only knows how to bark and doesn't know how to speak." Xiao Si's face instantly turned red, and he angrily lowered his head. Although his heart was filled with hatred, he could only secretly grit of his teeth. This was because the other party's status was much higher than his. Even if he was someone close to the emperor, he was just a lowly little eunuch, a dog servant in the eyes of others. What qualifications did he have to challenge the noble and illustrious prince? Xiao 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 Ti. Xiaoru suddenly pointed at him and shouted. Her black and bright eyes opened wide, and her round face was filled with a look of pleasant surprise. Xiaoxi raised his head, the anger on his face still not fading. He forced a smile at her, but it was a very awkward smile, but he did not say anything. Chapter 493. However, he had a good impression of this straightforward and simple-minded little girl. He never thought that they would meet again in this kind of situation, especially when he was being scolded like a dog. Xiaoxi, why are you wearing the clothes of a eunuch? Where's your master? Where's lots of money? Oh no, he's not lots of money, he's... Before Xiaoru could finish, Xiaoxi suddenly shot forward and covered her mouth. Miss Xiaoru, it's better if we talk outside. We can't wake the princess consort here, right? Xiaoxi dragged her out the door. Xiaoru struggled to spit out a few words. Ooh, I don't. I want to watch over the young miss. With the eldest princess watching over her, nothing will happen to your young miss. Not to mention the doctor said that she will wake up after a bit of sleep. Be obedient, we'll talk outside. Xiaoxi half coaxed and half persuaded Xiaoru to leave. His heart almost jumped out of his throat just now. Xiaoru's big mouth. She almost said that his master had disguised himself as a guard in the king's palace. If Chu Xiaoyang knew this, where would his master's face as the emperor be? Although he managed to pull Xiaoru away in time, Chu Xiaoyang's face still sunk and his brows knit together. He was wondering what Xiaoru's unfinished words meant. What lots of money? Could it be? He couldn't help looking out the door, and his brows knit even tighter. The eldest princess was also filled with suspicion, but she didn't think too much about it. At this moment, a maid came in with a bowl of medicine. She picked it up and said, "This princess will feed it." But she had been raised like a princess. When had she ever done something like serving people? That bowl of medicine was very hot, and her hand trembled, almost spilling it. Be careful. Chu Xiaoyang's hands moved, and he caught the bowl of medicine. That hot medicine spilled onto the back of his hand, and it instantly turned red, but it seemed like he didn't feel any pain at all as he held the bowl of medicine firmly. Let me feed it. He took a small silver spoon from a maid and scooped up a small spoonful of medicine. He slowly blew on it and then brought it to his lips to test the temperature. Then he carefully brought it to Chen Ning's lips and fed it a little at a time. Spoonful after spoonful, he carefully blew on each spoonful before feeding it to her. That gentle and focused look stunned everyone, including the eldest princess. The maids all looked at the unconscious Chen Ning with gazes of envy. They were all envious of her good fortune. The eldest princess' heart was filled with an indescribable feeling. She opened her mouth and felt that her eyes were slightly wet. She turned her face away and sighed silently. If a man could do this much for a woman, then he would definitely love her to the extreme. Ning, Ning Ning, you. Ning, you. But how unfortunate you are to be loved by such a man. Chun, I have a Ling Ning said. Chun, did I of comma, of I. The eldest princess suddenly felt a chill run down her spine. She simply didn't dare imagine what would happen. After Chu Xiaoyang fed her the medicine, he took out a white handkerchief and wiped the medicine from the corner of her mouth. Then he quietly sat on the side, waiting for her to wake up. The eldest princess felt that she could no longer scold him or chase him away. Chapter 494. 4. O. U. A. Wu. X. O. E. 6T. Plus. T. W. 1/X. O. As Ning's legitimate husband, it was only right and proper for him to stay here. No one would be able to find fault with him. Furthermore, what he had just done had already exceeded everyone's understanding. RNO1 would have thought that the high and mighty King Ding Yuan would actually personally feed his princess medicine. In this era, men were superior to women. Men were the heavens and women were the earth. Men could have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but women could only be faithful to one. They had to do everything they could to make their husband happy, and they had to be gentle and considerate. But even if it was like this, they couldn't escape the tragic fate of breaking their love as they grew older. For someone like Chu Xiaoyang, who had a high position, to swear in front of everyone that he would only marry one person in his life, this could be said to be a unique matter in the West Chu country. It was also because of this that the eldest princess was shocked and moved. Revan, she couldn't guarantee that Yi Tingxian would treat her the same and never change his heart. Dr. Zhang, she has already drunk the medicine. Why hasn't she woken up yet? The eldest princess waited for a while and finally couldn't help scolding the old doctor. The old doctor shivered and quickly said, "Eldest princess, don't be anxious. Wait for this old man to take the princess consort's pulse." She walked in front of the bed and saw that Chu Xiaoyang was firmly standing in front of the bed, not moving at all. He looked at the eldest princess with an awkward expression. Xiaoyang, move aside. Let Dr. Zhang take Ning Er's pulse. The eldest princess tone toward Chu Xiaoyang couldn't help becoming a bit more gentle. She no longer angrily tried to chase him away. Chu Xiaoyang nodded and stood beside the eldest princess. He stared right at Chun Ning without blinking, not even looking at the people around him. Seeing him like this, the eldest princess gave a sigh in her heart. She silently looked away and looked at the old doctor. After the old imperial physician was done with his left hand, right hand, and both hands, he closed his eyes and began to ponder silently. Strange, he muttered. What's strange? Didn't you say that Ning would wake up soon after taking the medicine? Did something happen again? Or is there a problem with the medicine you gave her? Chu Xiaoyang looked at him in doubt. No. The old doctor looked at Chu Xiaoyang and shook his head. Chu Xiaoyang impatiently grabbed the old doctor's collar. What's wrong? The old doctor coughed from being choked, but his eyes were still staring at Chu Xiaoyang. Coo. The reason why the princess consort hasn't woken up is because your highness is here. I dare you to say it again. Xiaoyang. Let go of Dr. Zhang. If you continue to be rude to Dr. Zhang, this princess will not be polite to you. This is this princess palace, not a place for King Ding Yuan, Chu Xiaoyang, to act mighty. The eldest princess angrily rebuked. She took a step forward and saved the old doctor from Chu Xiaoyang's hands. Dr. Zhang, this stinky brat is rude. You don't need to care about him. Tell this princess, why hasn't the princess consort woken up? She stared at the old doctor. The old doctor took a few breaths and angrily glared at Chu Xiaoyang. He angrily said, "This old man said before that the princess consort has someone she doesn't want to see, so she subconsciously doesn't want to wake up. As long as the person she doesn't want to see leaves this place, the princess consort will wake up soon." Chapter 495 B 3 1 asterisk 8 I Z C N Z T 8 29 Voy and LFP 5. The Empress Dowager and the Emperor he had already stopped visiting. Not to mention the Ding Yuan princess being sick. Even if King Ding Yuan was sick, he wouldn't need to personally make a move. Now he was being strangled by King Ding Yuan. This was simply a great humiliation to him. He was not afraid of Chu Xiaoyang at all. When Chu Xiaoyang heard this, he couldn't help gritting his teeth. He angrily glared at him. "Rotten old man, what are you saying?" The old doctor did not even look at him. He cupped his hands at the eldest princess and said, "Eldest princess, this old man needs to return to the palace to report to the Empress Dowager, so I'll be leaving now. Someone send Dr. Zhang out." The eldest princess was very respectful and polite to the old imperial physician. She sent someone to respectfully send the old imperial physician to the carriage back to the palace. Turning around, she coldly looked at Chu Xiaoyang. "Xiaoyang, you've heard the doctor's words, and this princess doesn't want to repeat them. If you really want Ning Er's good, then leave this place first. Once Ning Er's body recovers, you can come see her again. Someone, send the guest off." Although the scene of Chu Xiaoyang feeding Chun Ning medicine had touched her, Thinking of the old doctor's words, she could only harden her heart and send Chu Xiaoyang away. Our Chu Xiaoyang's face turned red and his handsome face was filled with anger. But he suppressed it and said in a calm voice, "Royal aunt, do you believe that rotten old man's words?" He was clearly sent by the emperor. This king does not believe a single word he says. This princess can trust Dr. Zhang's character. He is not the kind of person who would randomly talk about his medical skills because of someone else's orders. This princess believes what he said. Ning, I might not want to see you for now, but if you really want her good, why are you in such a rush? You should understand the meaning of the words. There's still a long way to go. The eldest princess tried her best to persuade him. Chu Xiaoyang was silent as he silently looked at the unconscious Chun Ning. She was quietly lying there like she was asleep. Her face was like snow, making people feel pity for her. Ri's heart felt stuffy, like it was swollen and filled with an indescribable pain. He really wanted to treat her well, but why didn't anyone believe in him? Even the royal aunt who was closest to him didn't believe him. Was it really because of him that she refused to wake up so stubbornly? She didn't want to see him? He clearly saw what he wanted to see in her eyes. All right, Imperial Aunt, I'm leaving. I'll have to trouble you to take good care of her and tell her that Ben Wang will visit her again tomorrow. He looked at her deeply once more, then turned around and strode away, never looking back. The moment he turned around, the eldest princess suddenly noticed that Chun Ning's long eyelashes were like butterfly wings, gently trembling. Could it be that she had already woken up a long time ago? She did not make a sound as she sat in front of the bed, quietly staring at Chun Ning, who seemed to be asleep. When Chu Xiaoyang's footsteps could no longer be heard, she gave a faint sigh. You can all leave. She waved her hand, and all the maids in the room left. The room was very quiet. There was only her and Chun Ning. They could even hear each other's breathing. He's already gone. Ning, you can wake up now, she said in a gentle voice. Chun Ning's eyelashes slowly raised. Her eyes were filled with confusion, as if there were ripples in them. Chapter 496. %R6A, X5, HTJ, Q, VA0 _ Y0, 1LP, Y7, 3, F. Pulling her hand, she said in an uncaring voice, Ning, tell this princess, why did you suddenly faint? Did you faint on purpose because you didn't want to see him? I didn't do it on purpose. At that time, I suddenly felt my heart beating fast, and I couldn't breathe. After that, I didn't know anything. Chun Ning looked into the eldest princess' eyes and spoke in a serious voice. Her eyes were calm. She wasn't lying. Just before she fainted, a sudden heartache almost took her breath away in an instant, causing her to lose consciousness. It really was strange. She raised her hand and pressed it against her chest. She felt that the inexplicable throbbing of her heart had returned to normal, and her breathing had also calmed down. Actually, not long after Chu Xiaoyang fed her the medicine, she had already woken up. She wanted to open her eyes immediately, but when she heard Chu Xiaoyang's voice, she subconsciously didn't want to wake up. She let herself keep her eyes closed. She didn't want to see him, and she didn't want to hear his voice. As long as he said those emotional words and looked at his emotional eyes, her heart would strangely beat, making it hard for her to breathe. The eldest princess nodded. She patted the back of her hand and said, Ning, if you don't want to see him, this princess can give the order that he is not allowed to enter the palace in the future. You can stay here forever. However, I feel that Xiaoyang's feelings for you are quite sincere. Perhaps he did something wrong, but can you really not forgive him? Forgive? How could she forgive him? Chun Ning bit her lips. She had been moved by him once and forgiven him for all the things he did to her in the past, but what she got in return was even more violent treatment from him. The love, he kept saying, it was just taking and taking, not giving or respecting at all. If this was Chu Xiaoyang's love, she couldn't accept it, and she didn't want it. All right, You don't need to say anything else. This princess understands, and I will give the order to not let him take a single step into my princess palace. The eldest princess could guess her thoughts from her expression. She felt sorry for Chu Xiaoyang, but she was also worried for Qinning. Although Chu Xiaoyang's love was strong, his hatred was also strong. If he knew that he couldn't obtain the thing he was searching for, he might destroy her at all costs. It seemed like she needed to send more people to protect Qinning. She couldn't give Chu Xiaoyang any chance. But Chu Xiaoyang's martial arts were very good. Compared to Chu Xiaoyang's guards, they were all useless. If Chu Xiaoyang really wanted to come, she had no way of stopping him. After thinking for a long time, there was only one way. She was going to ask her brother, the Emperor, for help. In the first place, this matter had arisen because of him. Naturally, it would fall to him to solve it. The eldest princess wrote a letter and sent it to the imperial palace. Then she stayed by Qinning's side. As the two of them talked, it unknowingly became late. Where's Xiaoru? Qinning suddenly found that Xiaoru wasn't by her side. You mean that little girl? The eldest princess thought about it and said, That's right. She was brought to the courtyard by the little eunuch called Xiao Si by Big Brother Emperor's side. It's been a while. Why hasn't she come back yet? Xiao Si? Qinning's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 497. W 4 C H asterisk KK U G 4 hashtag BN W N %. Look, she got up from the bed and quickly ran out the door. Ninger, slow down. You just woke up, you. The eldest princess followed behind her. When she saw Qinning, she suddenly stopped and looked in a direction in the yard. She followed Qinning's gaze and saw that in the corner of the stone steps, there was a boy and a girl sitting side by side. The young man had a delicate and fair face, and his eyes were bright and shiny. He was gesticulating as he talked about something. His eyebrows were dancing, and he seemed to be in high spirits. The girl beside him had her chin in her hand as she stared at the young man beside her. Her round face was filled with surprise and admiration. It was unknown what joke Xiao Si told, but Xiaoru began to giggle. Her eyes turned into crescent moons, and Xiao Si's eyes also turned into crescent moons. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Their smiles were filled with innocence, and a youthful aura assaulted one's senses. Qinning let out a soft sigh, and a faint smile appeared on her lips. Seeing the two young, smiling faces, her mood became bright, and it drove away the haze Chu Xiaoyang had left in her heart. It had been a long time since she had seen this kind of carefree smile on Xiaoru's face. If Xiao Si could make her smile like this, it wouldn't be bad. She slowly turned around with a faint smile and did not disturb them. Turning around, she saw the eldest princess who also had a moved expression on her face. The two of them looked at each other and revealed a smile. Ninger, I think the girl beside you and Xiao Si get along well. Did they know each other before? Returning to the room, the eldest princess couldn't hold back her curiosity and casually asked this question. Actually, what she wanted to ask was, did you know my brother Emperor before? But she was too embarrassed to ask this. Although she had a straightforward personality, she was not a stupid person. She could already feel that the relationship between the Emperor and Qinning was not as simple as she thought it was. Qinning was very smart. She knew that the eldest princess had already guessed it. She pondered for a bit before bowing down to the eldest princess. Eldest princess, you've saved me again and again. I shouldn't have hidden anything from you. But this matter I never told you because I didn't know that the Mo Chuan I knew was the Emperor. You and my royal brother met in the royal study. It wasn't the first time? Then you really didn't know each other before? The eldest princess was very surprised. She helped Qinning up and pulled her to sit on the edge of the bed. Her eyes were filled with interest. Good little sister, quickly tell me what is going on. How did you meet? This story must be very good. She was beaming with joy and excitement. Ning never thought that the eldest princess would be this interested in the matter between her and Mo Chuan. She couldn't help laughing. It seemed that it was human nature to love gossip. Men loved it, women loved it too. Even someone as straightforward as the eldest princess was no exception. But how could this matter be explained in a few words? Especially in this kind of situation. It was like a messy sesame ball. Even she couldn't see where the way out was. Although the eldest princess was good and wholeheartedly protected her, could she protect her for a lifetime? Not to mention living under someone else's roof was not a long-term solution. She had to rely on herself and escape the shackles that fate had placed on her. Chapter 498 F. 05 in 1. 6. N. R. U. U. Eep. F. R. When she first met Mo Chuan, she couldn't help sighing. At that time, how could she have thought that a quick meeting would lead to so many things happening? But these things, should she tell the eldest princess the whole story? Eldest princess, let the emperor personally tell you this story, all right? She spoke in a gentle voice as she looked at the eldest princess with an apologetic smile. Because she really didn't know what to say. She didn't know why Mo Chuan would disguise himself as a guard and follow her, saving her again and again. She didn't even know when Mo Chuan had fallen in love with her. This was a mystery to her. The eldest princess suddenly gave a sigh and said, if he was willing to say it, this princess wouldn't have asked you. But even if you want to say it now, there are people who won't let you say it. She winked at Ning and said with a smile, look, someone's looking at you. Ning raised her head and was surprised to find that there was another person in the room. He was wearing black clothes and silently standing in the shadows of the room, as quiet as a shadow. Ning bit her lips and silently looked at him. Although he was wearing a human skin mask, she could recognize him with a single glance. Mo Chuan. When did he come? She didn't know at all. Coming without a shadow and leaving without a trace. This was probably a person like him. He took off the high and mighty dragon robe that symbolized his status, and once again put on the black clothes that he wore when he was her bodyguard. That kind of intimate and familiar feeling came rushing at her. Ree's deep and bottomless eyes stared at her without blinking. His chin was tight, and he didn't say a word. He clearly knew that she was looking at him, but he still didn't say a word. The eldest princess looked at this and then at that. She found that the two of them were looking at each other, and neither of them were looking at her. All right. If you have something to say, then say it. This princess is an extra person and won't listen to you. She suppressed her curiosity and unwillingly walked out. When she reached the door, she couldn't help looking back at Mo Chuan. Then she pushed open the door and walked out, closing it for them. The room was completely silent. There were only the occasional sparks from the candle on the table. The two of them didn't say a word and just silently stared at each other. Ning suddenly found that she could not understand Mo Chuan. What? Lowering her head guiltily, she avoided his aggressive gaze, trying to distract his attention. She deliberately tried to find something to talk about. Mo Chuan, when did you come? How come I didn't know about this? Your Qin Gong is this good. Can you teach me in the future? Mo Chuan didn't say a word. His deep dark eyes stared at her face, making her face burn up and making her feel even more guilty. Wu, are you thirsty? Do you want to drink some tea? This is high-quality Cloud Mountain Fog tea. It's very fragrant. She pretended to be calm as she walked over and poured a cup of hot tea for him. Before she could finish, he suddenly grabbed her wrist, and with a gentle pull, she fell into his embrace. His arm was wrapped around her waist, tightly holding her, making her unable to move. Chapter 499 XWD 0 D 5 F dollar 4 D 8 5 G 5 underscore Biff Any random item in the mansion was priceless, and this teacup carved from green jade was even rarer. But neither of them looked at the teacup. Why did you make the decision yourself? Why do you have to take responsibility for everything? Why can't you just tell me honestly? Mo Chuan finally slowly spoke. He slightly lowered his head and looked right in her eyes. Ri's voice was very calm, just like the sound of flowing water, but his dark eyes were filled with an indescribable anger that made her tremble. She looked down, almost not daring to look at him. Ri's question was more aggressive than the look in his eyes, leaving her speechless. Is it because in your heart, Mo Chuan, can't be relied on? Tell me, in your heart, do you even trust me? He suddenly reached out and lifted her chin, forcing her to look into his eyes. Ri's pupils were deep and dark, causing her heart to skip a beat and her breathing to quicken. Tell me, why are you not willing to tell me? You think that I can't save Xiao Ru and I can't save you, right? If I didn't notice your abnormality, if I didn't send the eldest princess to stop you, wouldn't you have returned to his side? Isn't that right? Rhe was practically gnashing his teeth. Although his face was covered by a mask, he still looked calm, but his eyes were surging with rage. Archie did not know that when he found out that she had left the royal palace and was sitting in the carriage heading to the King Dingyuan palace, he was shocked and his heart ached. Because she had never trusted him. She had never believed that he could protect her. That's why he would hide it from her and make this kind of absurd decision. If it wasn't for him sending secret guards to keep an eye on her, she would have already been eaten alive by that cruel wolf, Chu Xiaoyang. There wouldn't even be any scraps left. How did you know? Was it you that told the eldest princess to save me? She was startled by his angry gaze and shrank back, but her heart was suddenly filled with warmth. Archie had always thought that she was acting very naturally. So how did he notice her abnormality? Do you think you can hide something from this one? His eyes were filled with anger, and his voice was cold and hard. But in her ears, it was warm. It was like a lost child suddenly finding the way home, or like a warm spring breeze on a cold winter night. Ri's arms around her were very strong. She suddenly felt that as long as she was in his arms, even if the sky fell, she wouldn't be afraid. This feeling of having someone to rely on was very good. Very good. Are you angry? She raised her eyes that were as clear as spring water and looked at him faintly. Rhe was a man. It would be strange if he wasn't angry. Mo Chuan stared at her, and his heart almost softened from her watery eyes. He tried his best to keep a straight face, maintaining his cold eyes. Riffy did not punish her now. Who knew what kind of daring thing she would do in the future? Humph. He snorted loudly. Don't be angry. I promise you, this is the last time. I'll tell you everything in the future. I won't hide anything from you, okay? Chapter 500. But she really didn't dare tell him because she didn't dare gamble with Xiao Ru's life. Her voice was soft and waxy, just like a soft piece of candy that slowly melted in his heart. Bit by bit, strand by strand, it wrapped around his heart. His jaw, which he had been trying to keep a straight face, unknowingly relaxed. He would never be able to truly be angry with her. But if he forgave her so easily, he was not willing. Do you think this matter will end like this? He looked down and coldly stared at her. Then, what do you want? Or should I make it up to you? She blinked her eyes that were as bright as spring water, a fawning smile on her lips. She knew that he was still angry, and she was indeed in the wrong. She shouldn't have taken the initiative to leave without saying goodbye. He was a proud man. How could he accept this? His heart skipped a beat. How do you want to compensate me? He continued to speak with cold eyes. His voice was cold, not relaxing at all. He couldn't let her take advantage of him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to control her in the future. She quickly turned her eyes, and her face turned slightly red. She bit her lips and said, "What kind of compensation do you want?" He held her waist tightly, and the two of them were very close. He lowered his head to look at her. Her face was as red as a peach blossom in March, pink and alluring. Her black eyes were like moist grapes, causing his breath to stop. His gaze moved down, landing on her light pink cherry lips. She noticed his line of sight, and her face became even redder. The two of them simultaneously thought of the kiss that was as light as a dragonfly skimming the water. Imo Chuan's heart began to beat faster, one beat after another. It was like he was bewitched as he slowly lowered his head, slowly moving closer to her. His heart beat faster and faster. She seemed to know his intentions and did not struggle. She obediently closed her eyes, and 2 rows of long and dense eyelashes cast a shadow under her eyes as she silently waited. No. When his lips brushed past the tip of her nose and was about to fall, her eyes suddenly opened wide, and her hand reached out to cover his lips. Why can't I? His voice was hoarse, and there was a faint flame in his eyes. He almost wanted to grit his teeth. This mischievous girl, every time it was a critical moment, she would tease him. What exactly did she want? You said that you would compensate me. He said this word for word. His muffled voice came from her palm, and it was filled with heat, making her palm feel warm and itchy. She couldn't help giggling. She let go of her hand and giggled as she said, "You're still wearing a human skin mask. I don't want you to accidentally touch some dead person's skin when you kiss me. Woo, that would be a very disgusting feeling." She revealed a look of disgust as she knit her brows. Imo Chuan's face instantly turned green. He took off the mask on his face, threw it on the ground, and glared at her. Is this okay now? Under the candlelight, his handsome and elegant features were exquisite and flawless. His eyes were as bright as the cold stars in the sky. Even when he was glaring at her, his eyes were filled with faint affection. You can, of course you can. Of course you can. She smiled and squinted her eyes. Her eyes were curved like a little fox. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.